Zongman, Danmachi, 3 skills at the beginning. Chapter 61. We're in. Welcome. Nani, it's you again. Big cut. Don't call me that stupid horrible nickname, it's Diona Schroeder, it's not a big cut off. Master, the saboteur is coming again. Hey, I'm here to get the weapon, I've made an appointment with your master and the others. So I didn't come here to make excessive demands. Hearing this, the blacksmith breathed a sigh of relief. Flan and Icy stood side by side behind Tiona, watching the funny scene with their mouths twitching. Thinking about the life of these blacksmiths is not very good. After all, the big double blade, Olga, or something, how much super hard metal does it need to use? As the super hard metal with the highest performance and hardness besides the hardest metal Orichal for steel, the process of processing it into refined metal is 6 to 70, and I don't know how much effort it takes. Super hard metal the weapons produced are generally first-level adventurers, and only the highest-level blacksmiths have the means and skills to process them. Coupled with the huge density and size of the big double blade. The processing fee alone is 120 million, because of the double-edged, or really well-deserved reputation. Destroyer, this is your big double blade, it's ready. Sword Fairy's Sword of Despair is at the Lord God's side, go and get it yourself. Icy nodded silently, abruptly took Flan's hand, and led him into the inner room. All the blacksmiths froze in place for an instant, their eyes popping out. As the two moved, the net kept making a creaking sound. Hey, saboteur. Is this still the puppet princess, Zongji? Did he take the initiative to hold the man's hand just now? Hey, you're surprised, aren't you? Misaka, that sword princess, actually has someone he likes. A big event that shocked Olali. The corners of Tiona's mouth twitched, and she sighed and shook her head as she watched these straight blacksmith men clasping their heads and screaming frantically. As for it, hey. In the inner room, there is only one god here, and that is a male god with the appearance of an old man. His wrinkled features are well proportioned, and his nose bridge is high. He had white hair and a white beard that was just long enough to cover his mouth. The burly figure has no fat, and the muscles are strong, which makes people vaguely reminiscent of dwarves. The overall appearance is very thin, but quite refined. This is the main god of Gubenius families, Gubenius, the god of architecture and construction. Sword Fairy. It's just in time, your weapon is ready. The male god took Ice's exclusive weapon with a scabbard from the wall, held the middle section and handed it to her. Icy took it without a word, pulled out the rapier with a bang, and looked it over carefully. Compared to before, the situation this time is much better. If it is like this every time, I can relax a little bit. Flan naturally knew the reason why the preparation was relatively easy this time. Maybe it's because Ice is wearing suppression bracer and uses it in the middle layer, or lower layer. Compared with the sturdiness of the deep monsters, their resistance is much friendlier, which is the fundamental reason why the sharpness can still be maintained. Thank you. The fee is 5 million farleys. Flan stared, startled. It costs 5 million fair to prepare casually. Is this the first level adventurer's armament? I love it. This makes Flan more determined to build an armament with the same characteristics as the small black knife. I will pay later. Come on, I'll just pay you back when the time comes. Flan grabbed Ace and paid for her. Even Gubernius made a difference, because the relationship between the two seemed a little too close. He is Flan Algon. My partner. It's the first time I met Mr. Gubernius. As Ace said, I am Flan Algon. I am also from the Loki family, and I am still a newcomer. Oh, I haven't seen such an excellent young man for a long time. After carefully looking at Flan, the god didn't know what to see, and squeezed out a smile on his serious face. See, you don't have a weapon in your hand yet. Do you want to build one here? My lord, I may have disappointed you. Actually, I am also a blacksmith myself. Gubenau narrowed his eyes and smiled. Do you want to create your own exclusive weapon? I understand. I understand this feeling very well. Flan hastily bowed in apology. Feel sorry. It's nothing, I overstepped. However, I have one more request here, I wonder if Mr. Gu Bashao can answer. What do you think? Is such that I'm leaving, I'll visit your business again next time. Great cutoff, don't give us any more inexplicable troubles. Yes, you saboteur, hurry up. Oh, I was hated again. Flan smiled and shook his head. Your big cut is thanks to them being able to forge it. It's hard to imagine how much energy it takes to refine so much super hard metal, it can't be offended. Huh. Even Flan said that. Well, as a blacksmith, such a big order should be something you can't even dream of. Of course, I owed a lot of debt when I built the big double blade. At this moment, IC was a little shy and said, I'll pay you back after that, fee, Flan. Don't worry, let's talk about your earning power, it's only 5 million. Dispelling IC's worries, the three of Flan walked out of the simple alley. The industrial area is full of busy workers and people from the Chamber of Commerce. As the largest industry in Orari, this is the veritable heart of the city. Adventurers recycle magic stones from the dungeon, and the Union collects them and hands them over for processing, making them into various magic stone products, which are sold by merchants all over the world. So no matter what time of day it is, even if it's midnight, it's pretty busy. The bustling degree of 3.4 degrees is comparable to the busy streets in the southern district. Let's go, since we're all here, do you want to go to my forging workshop to see Shuan? After identifying the location, this place is not far from his small forging workshop. Okay, do you want to build equipment? Tiona immediately showed an interested look, bouncing around the front and turning around to ask. Well, I got a lot of materials in the maze this time, and I can make a lot of money by selling them all. The most important thing is that I can also learn during the process of improving the forging. Okay, anyway, we are idle when we are idle, aren't we? Icy, who was walking side by side with Flan, also nodded. She was actually quite curious in her heart. As the only blacksmith and magician of the Loki family, everyone has high expectations for him. Well, go. Hearing this, Flan smiled. Then let's go. Cough cough cough. Pushing open the long-lost wooden door, a cloud of dust mixed with iron filings and decaying wood rose into the sky, choking Flan to hurriedly step aside the door. Sorry, I need to clean it up now. I left in a hurry and forgot to clean it up. We're here to help too. The overall space of Flan's workshop is not too big, and the three of them cleaned it up together, and it didn't take long for it to look brand new. Well, it's a bit crude, you can sit down wherever you want. Speaking of which, you don't lack weapons and equipment, do you have any gadgets you want, such as jewelry, pendants, etc.? Hey, is it really possible? Of course, I count it as my reward for helping me clean the workshop. I'll think about it. Don't worry, I have to prepare before work. Where is Ace, do you want anything? Ace's expression was still blank, she tilted her head to show a cute expression, and stared straight at Flan's back. Issuing a card. Send a card. No problem. Flan paused for a moment in his hands, thinking about the shape of the hairpin that would perfectly match Ace's dazzling blonde hair. It should be silver. He muttered to himself, and then started the forging procedure. 26. In the city of Olali, the control of entry and exit is quite strict. This is especially true for the gods. Because the gods who came down to earth have sealed their divine power, they are no different from ordinary people in the lower realm. Prohibiting them from leaving Orario is also for their safety. In addition to the gods, the access control of high-level adventurers is second only to the gods. As a top combat force, even if they lose a guild, they will feel distressed to death. Under normal circumstances, they will never let them go. As for ordinary people, it is limited to checking the degree of favor. As the center of the world, Orario was originally a fortress city that suppressed dungeons. After the modern gods descended to the realm, this situation changed. In order to cater to the requirements of the gods, this fortress city also began to gradually increase various entertainment facilities. For example, the casino opened by Santrio Becca from the distant entertainment city, and the Grand Theater built again by Melstra, the country of opera. These entertainment facilities attract more than just the gods. The big businessmen and adventurers who come and go to Orario are also their big customers. Naturally, nobility is indispensable. Throughout the continent, there are many countries and empires. The aristocrats from these countries are all very rich, and Olali is of course second to none in order to find excitement. Some of them spend a lot of money in the casino, and some throw a lot of money for a certain demahuman. Of course, there are aristocrats with strange three views. Their hobbies are different and they like to raise monsters. The nobles from Alia are such a group of people. South Alari. In a corner tavern, two mysterious people in cloaks were talking. The quality of this batch of goods is quite high, and the employers are quite satisfied. I don't care if they are satisfied or not, the important thing is the gold coins, you know. Huh. What are you talking about? Those nobles have plenty of money, the premise is to make them happy. Don't worry, as long as you wear the collar, even if it's a monster, you have to be obedient. That's good. And what about the money? It's here. Wow. A large bag of gold coins was still on the table, but the other people in the tavern completely ignored this behavior, as if they didn't see it. It's really a convenient ability. Thank you for the compliment. When's the next deal? In 3 months. Business requires integrity, but don't make any mistakes. You think I don't want to? The last time someone from your side got wind of it and was discovered by the people from the trade union. If I hadn't acted quickly, I would have been exposed now. I don't want to face a behemoth like the trade union right now, and it would be over. He, the dignified thunderstormer Dix Perdex will also be afraid. Hey, what are you talking about, as if you are not afraid? Then why don't you just transport those monsters out of the city? Idiot. Dix sneered, took the money and left. As for the guy who talked to him, it was a commercial gold agent selected by the nobles. To put it bluntly, it is running errands. Facing a LV.5 powerhouse like Savage, it's time to be cowardly. You must know that they, the dark faction and remnants, are all murderers without blinking an eye. Bah, a bunch of lingering remnants. If it weren't for the sake of gold coins, who would sit here with you? The darkness that happened in a corner of the city, Flan doesn't know yet. In other words, he knows the general situation, but not the specifics. Others may not be clear, but he is very clear. On the surface, Olali, who has ended the dark period, has an undercurrent surging underneath. Not to mention that the remnants of the dark faction are ready to move, and a certain god with the alias Urban Destroyer, Enio, is also constantly doing things in order to seek pleasure. This sense of crisis constantly stimulates Flan to improve himself at an accelerated pace. Ding, ding, ding. The forging hammer struck the hot metal, constantly changing its shape. As he hammered, a mysterious circle of red light loomed on the tool and arm, and some kind of force began to change the nature of the metal. Oh, is this the development ability of Forge? It's amazing. No wonder it is said that only by learning blacksmithing can one enter the level of a senior blacksmith. Not only was Diona wide-eyed curiously, but Icy also saw the forging process of a blacksmith with the ability of forging for the first time. Soon, under Flan's efforts, the equipment gradually took shape. It was a silver hairpin, the same color as Icy's light armor. The difference is the mysterious pattern on the inside of the hairpin. This is a card issued by me with the attribute of durability, which can increase some combat continuation by a small amount. It's not considered precious equipment, but it can barely reach the 3rd level of armament. Of course, with this beautiful appearance, it can add a little added value. Quote. The exquisite hairpin shines with mysterious brilliance, and after being added with a little mithril, it has excellent magic power transmission performance. Wow, very beautiful. Ace, put it on and try it on. Okay. After receiving Flan's small gift, Ace took off her hairpin and put it on. It matches you very well, I was attracted at a glance. There is no sense of abruptness at all, and the hairpin perfectly blends into Icy's mausoleum. Beautiful, love it, thank you. Flan. Icy's pretty face was reddish, and she pinched her fingers and stammered her thanks. Tiona blinked brightly. Wow, is this a token of love? Loki will kill you if he finds out. Question mark. Flan slowly raised a question mark. Who is Loki? Here, this is your collar. I can't understand the brain circuit of you Amazon female warriors. Why do you like this kind of collar around your neck? TCH, what do you know, it's a custom. What was made for Diona was a golden collar, which was also engraved with intricate patterns. This is a special weapon enchanted with the attribute of strength. You are satisfied. Very satisfied. Put on the collar, Tiona is indescribably beautiful. As a special weapon, it is quite rare, and there are not many high-level blacksmiths who can create it. Flan also relied on his two development abilities of forging and mystery to make a successful production. Playing with the small gift, Tiona asked curiously. By the way, Flan, can you make a magic sword? Magic sword. Ace's attention was also attracted. Ah, you're bringing this up all of a sudden. That's a magic sword. It's a necessity even for our expedition. And the price of this thing is too expensive. It's 1 million if it's cheap, and tens of millions if it's a little better. The magic sword, as long as it is swung, it can release the power comparable to magic. Of course, just like the mages, the power of the magic sword is also uneven. Even the magic sword can't break the Minotaur's defense. As for the strong ones, even level 6 first-level adventurers have to temporarily avoid the edge. In short, it is undeniable that the power of the magic sword is very strong, very strong. Even if it's just a consumable. To put it bluntly, it is for Krypton gold bosses. Create a magic sword. Flan squeezed it down, lost in thought in front of the two girls. It's not that I can't fight. I already have the basic building conditions, that is, forging. But if you want to play a powerful one, it will not happen overnight. 1. However, compared to forging a magic sword, the way to quickly increase combat power is to chant. As long as Flan learns parallel chant, his combat power will be explosively improved, not to mention the 13th floor, and the floor master, Goliath, who allows him to brush LV.4 alone will dare to face it hard. Rivalia, please teach me the technique of parallel singing. In the office of the Big Three. Finn, Rivalia, and Grace looked at each other, looking at Flan who stood in the middle and bowed at 90 degrees to plead with Rivalia. They were all a little puzzled. I can ask. Why did you suddenly think of learning parallel chant? Flan didn't straighten up, but said directly. During the battle, I discovered that I lacked the ultimate means to win with one blow. Melee combat obviously does not have such conditions, and the only thing that has this ability is magic. But that's where the contradiction lies. Now that I'm exploring the dungeon, I don't have time to safely chant an attack. The conclusion is, the only way is to learn parallel chant. Several people were silent for a moment, and thought to themselves, has he grown to this level? It's too fast. Single quote. There is no problem in learning to chant concurrently, but you have to know that this process is very dangerous. If you are slightly negligent, you will be seriously injured or even lose your life. You should be prepared, right? Well, from tomorrow onwards, you will come to the library to complete your theoretical study. Saying goodbye to the Big Three, Flan started busy again. There are still a lot of materials at hand, and he needs to seize the time to make them into finished products and then sell them. Although the money is not much, he understands the principle of gathering sand to form a tower, and there is also the purpose of improving the craftsmanship. Name: Flan Algon. Level: LV.2. Ability value: Strength, C678 right pointing arrow SSS 1555 Durability, C678 right pointing arrow SSS 1555 Delicacy, C678 right pointing arrow SSS 1555 Agility, C678 right pointing arrow SSS 1555 Magic, C678 right pointing arrow SSS 1555. Development ability: Mysterious H, Forging G. After updating the ability value again, Flan has improved a lot due to the results of a lot of fighting and learning. The training in the battle, coupled with the accumulation of knowledge, both accelerated his growth. It is even more fanning the flames in the field of blacksmiths, which led to the current result. It won't be long before your child will be ready for a great cause. Rocky took a sip of red wine, smiled and reminded Flan to get ready. The improvement of ability value, no matter who it is, whether it is fast or slow, it will be able to rise sooner or later, unless the natural potential is not enough. In the final analysis, what divides the ranks of adventurers is the advanced experience points obtained by Cheng Waya. Only with this can the sublimation of the level be completed. Ah, I already have a goal. Floor Master, Goliath. Hey, don't be impulsive. That's LV.4, and it's still a super large species. Loki was shocked immediately. how much he wanted to challenge the floor master without LV.2. But, by beating people at the same level, I can't achieve greatness, right? So I have to find someone who is better than me. Isn't there still LV.3? My Lord God, you don't know how high my potential attributes are, right? With the magic that has been amplified by skills, I can proudly say that I am invincible within LV.3. I heard that the last invincible has stopped thinking. In the end, Rocky followed the decision of his own children. As the main god, it's not good to be too predictable. Their task is just to watch the children pursue their dreams. It's enough. The gods in this world give Flan the same feeling as his parents, maybe. But I have a request, you must bring at least one companion with you, just in case. Yes, I know. Of course Flan would not go to die foolishly. He who had already died once had an unparalleled desire for life. The next day, library. Riveria and Flan sat on opposite sides of the table. Parallel chanting is a very complicated technique, meaning, an advanced technique of fighting and moving while magic chanting. To explain in detail, this technique has a total of attack, defense, movement, evasion, chant, 5 actions. The difficulty of completing each additional movement will continue to increase. Under normal circumstances, invoking magic requires concentration for a long time to chant incantations, and during the chant, you need to concentrate on controlling the magic power, so you can't engage in combat or even move while chanting. As a high-level parallel chanting technique, it is necessary to respond to the battle while chanting the incantation. If there is a slight mistake, the magic power will explode by mistake, causing the caster to kill himself. Now you need to practice from the very basics. That is to chant while moving, increase the success rate to 100%, and then add the next action. Of course, there is a prerequisite for all of this, and that is to acquire the heart of equanimity. Only by maintaining a calm heart can we calmly perform chanting and linking skills in battle. This is the cornerstone of our being a mage. Heart of calmness, a skill that every high-level wizard must master. Facing a powerful enemy requires not only courage to face it, but also a higher level of calmness, so as to become a qualified wizard. Then, the cultivation begins. Yes. It was at the time when Flan started to learn peaceful heart and parallel chanting with Riveria. Some kind of legend began to circulate among the group of adventurers at some point. The tavern, the mistress of fertility, has reached the time when there are the most guests in the evening. By Jiao Nuo, hey, have you heard any rumors? It is the Balrog who slaughtered monsters on the 13th floor. Surrounded by hundreds of monsters, that number is exactly the monster banquet. Listen, it is said that someone saw it with their own eyes, that Blaze Demon slaughtered all the monsters within 10 minutes with his own strength. That is massacre, a one-sided battle. What are you doing? I've never heard of any high-level adventurer going to the 13th floor to play the autumn wind. Idiot, which high-level adventurer have you heard of using the additional magic of black and red flame thunder? Stop making trouble. Hey, what kind of high-level adventurer is a LV.2 donkey? Then it's even more wrong. LV.2 can slaughter monster feast. Don't think about it, there must be something tricky. Is it a new type of magic sword? Anyway, I don't believe it. What a joke, such an exaggerated combat power is definitely cheating. Because of a topic, the adventurers drinking in the tavern suddenly became noisy. Naturally, Lu, Anaya, Kaloy, Lenova and others were also curious about the authenticity of this news. Liu, is such a thing possible? Although the girls are all masters, Galewind, who destroyed 26 forces and returned 4 pillars of gods to the heavens by himself, still has the most experience. It's unlikely, LV.2 is enough for one person to be on the 13th floor. To slaughter the monster banquet, in my impression, only one person can do it. Who? Sword Maiden, Ace Wallenstein. Don't scare me, meow, could it be that there is another monster like Sword Fairy? I do not know either. The scene of Plenty Mistress is only a microcosm of Warario. In the tavern at night, there are countless people discussing this topic. In Flan's words, once it comes to the issue of combat power, the topic will explode in an instant, and hundreds of floors will be built in minutes. On the 13th floor, the Balrog incident of slaughtering the monsters banquet alone began to ferment among the group of adventurers. At first, the melon eaters thought that this kind of incident would be as usual and would be covered by new news soon, but they didn't expect. The matter became more and more serious, and even reached the ears of the union's high-level officials, who wanted to discuss it. Allah. In the conference living room on the second floor of Twilight Pavilion. Loki, Finn, Riveria, and Reese sat or stood, and even the god Loki sat on the desk with his legs crossed. Riveria closed one eye and looked at Loki. Let's talk about it, Loki. The Balrog incident has intensified, and I'm afraid it won't be able to cover it. Loki was sweating profusely on his forehead, and he hesitated what to say. Loki, it's Flan. Hey, can't you act like you don't know, Finn? The leader of the little human race sat on the chair with his feet dangling in the air, and said with a wry smile. Even if I pretend not to know, the people below can guess it, right? Black and red additional magic, lightning speed, explosive power, plus neat fighting skills. The most important thing is, it doesn't look like the powerful attribute of LV.2 feet's potential ability at all. It's just Flan. His exaggerated stats. Loki sighed. Ah, we didn't expect that things would be so big. Although this day has long been expected. Riveria smiled and comforted the two. Although the adventurer team on the 13th floor is much smaller than that of the upper floor, it is not that small. There are too many people who have witnessed it. We can't hide it if we want to. I'm afraid the investigators of the Union are already in on the way. Hey Loki, you haven't registered for Flan's level, have you? It's okay if the concealment of information is not discovered. Once it is discovered, it will catch us. A mandatory mission will definitely not be able to escape. Although he knew the result was like this, Loki still had a headache. Go to Flan to discuss it. The kid is not unreasonable, although his obscene development plan will be ruined. The three giants looked at each other and laughed. It's really special. Adventurers come out for fame, but he doesn't care about it at all. It's really strange. By the way, Riveria, how is his parallel singing training? It's been half a month, right? Hearing Finn mention this, even Riveria's expression couldn't hold back this time. Hey, how should I put it? If I had to use an adjective to describe the child, it would be a monster. Question mark. The few people who didn't quite understand looked at each other, and then asked what was going on with the Goblin royal family with their eyes. The speed of learning and the speed of absorbing knowledge is really too fast, the perverted ability of never forgetting, the thinking of easily assimilating knowledge. In just 3 days, he has mastered 2 movements. It took another 4 days to master 3, 7 days later to master 4, and 10 days later to master all the essentials, a total of less than a month. Now that child has been able to perfectly use parallel chant 2 days ago. As for these 2 days, it seems to be practicing with Ace, Diona, Teogen, Bert and others. This exaggerated learning speed is no joke. If there is a certain foundation in magic, such as elves who have received magic education since childhood, perhaps some talented geniuses can barely do it. But Flan is a human being, a human magic novice who has only been favored for less than half a year. That's too much. Is he about to upgrade again, Loki? Finn bit his thumb, thinking about Flan's recent actions, CGBA, a thought suddenly popped up from the back of his mind, and even he was startled. It took him more than a month to upgrade for the first time, and now it's been another 3 months, counting the time. At his speed, he has almost reached the limit. Loki raised his head to finish off the remaining red wine in the glass, wiped the corners of his mouth boldly with the back of his hand, and narrowed his eyes. Ah, Tian Chengwei's target has already been chosen. What is he going to do? Solo attack on the 17th floor. Floor Master, Goliath. Nani. Asterisk 3. Courtyard. After a few days of exercise, Flan has been able to use the parallel chanting technique fluently. Even in the high-intensity battle with Icy and the others, there will never be any mistakes. Strong mental power and the reader's immunity to mental pollution are almost perfect for all the qualities of a wizard. As long as he wants, no one can break himself in the state of peaceful heart, in any state. It's almost ready, let's go tomorrow. Back in the room, Flan stood and sat on the edge of the bed, crossed his hands under his nose, and looked at the weapons and equipment neatly placed on the ground. Water Kang staff, dagger number 4, a master and a pair of 2 weapons, plus a two-handed sword specially used to deal with super-large floor masters. A fire elf cloth, cloak, double-layered 8-pocket belt, and 2-leg belts. A pair of high-durability gloves and leather boots. 10 dual-attribute recovery medicines, 5 high-level recovery medicines, 20 recovery medicines, and 5 high-level spiritual power recovery medicines, 1 bottle of panacea. That's all the preparations for tomorrow's crusade against the floor master. Be prepared as best as you can, one of the creeds of adventurers. The corners of Flan's mouth turned up, and he smiled. Under the moonlight, the azure halos in the golden pupils shone brightly, continuously radiating mysterious rays of light. The next day, the warm sun shone on her body, making her feel warm. The sky is clear and cloudless, and it is in line with the sky, like a mirror. The Tower of Babel has performed its duties for thousands of years, and people have long been accustomed to its existence. The labyrinth city Orari, the center of the world, continues to be noisy. It's been a while, Ace. The blonde girl shook her head, expressing no with a cute nasal voice. Ah, let's go. Okay. Are you idiots? You can't be professional in stalking. At least wear a cloak to cover your face. Idiot Amazon, what are you talking about? My uncle is still hiding it. Stupid wolf, let's go to the dungeon together, the fool will know something is wrong, right? Don't you worry about the trouble of the union looking for the family members. What do you think Flan is for? Cut, boring. Can you stop arguing? Hey, here we come. Let's chase. Flan of LV.2 single-player crusade against the super-large floor master of LV.4, an epic battle spanning 2 levels. Once such a great cause is achieved, even the gods will praise it. As for the adventurers, I don't know what the noise will be like. The middle floor is the 13th floor. The ubiquitous oppressive feeling from the last time I came here has completely disappeared now. After perfectly mastering the advanced skill of the wizard parallel chanting, Flan also conducted intensive training with his LV.5 companions. And as the skill of his mind crystallization, with the boost of the fuel called knowledge, Flan's ability value increased like crazy. Until the day before departure, that is, yesterday, he found Rocky and updated the latest attribute. Name: Fu Luo N Algon. Level: LV.2. Ability value: Strength. SSS 1555 Right pointing arrow SSS 1999 Durability. SSS 1555 Right pointing arrow SSS 1999 Delicacy. SSS 1555 Right pointing arrow SSS 1999 Agility. SSS 1555 Right pointing arrow SSS 1999 Magic. SSS 1555 Right pointing arrow SSS 1999. Development ability Mysterious H, Forging G. The vessel has been filled, and he has reached the current bottleneck for the second time. That is, no matter how much he hones his skills and absorbs knowledge, he still has no effect. If you want to upgrade, you can only get high-level experience points, which is to achieve great achievements. Generally speaking, there is only one way to obtain advanced experience points. It is to defeat enemies who are similar to or stronger than yourself. If you are an ordinary adventurer, it is the safest and most efficient way to take risks in a team to gain advanced experience. However, this method does not work for current Flan. Because his true combat power completely subverted the law of rank. Calculate according to the formula. 1999A plus 1999B equals 5997. The high-ranking adventurers who have upgraded to the B segment want to reach this value. 700A plus 700B plus 700C equals 4200. The above LV.3 is obviously not qualified anymore. Then only LV.4 adventurers with 400 points in the F section can compete with the current Flan. The premise is that Flan has not turned on the magic. In this way, if he wants to achieve a great cause, there are not many goals to choose from. It just so happens that Goliath, the floor master, on the 17th floor, perfectly meets this condition. But there is another problem. Goliath's potential ability is LV.4, yes, but this super large species is strengthened by durability expertise, even the attacks of LV.4 adventurers can't do anything to him. So if you want to defeat Goliath, there is only one way. My killing line is longer than your bloodline. This method of warfare. Puff easily killed the monster with one blow, and Flan reinserted dagger number 4 into the leather scabbard on the back waist. Until the end of the battle, Icy had no intention of making a move. Like an invisible person, the girl quietly followed Flan, watched him fight and kill monsters, and then beckoned herself to move forward. She enjoys this kind of feeling a little bit now. It's just that the simple IC doesn't know what the emotions brewing in her heart are, which is too complicated for her. But a girl with a little blonde hair understands and is very warm. Let's go Ace. Branch 1. The transformed Flan didn't even activate magic, and killing monsters all the way was like mowing grass with Wushwang, which was so cool. Whether it's the horned rabbit, or the Cerberus, or the Minotaur, no monster is a match for Flan. Rolling, nothing but rolling. It seems that Dungeon knows that these two adventurers are not a threat on the current floor, so even the number of spawning monsters has been reduced. After going through the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th floors all the way, Icy and Flan finally came to a spacious gray stone avenue. The tall ceiling, the white-gray rock wall, and the spacious avenue that can accommodate more than a dozen people, everything seems to indicate something. Soon, a spectacular scene entered the field of vision of Flan and Icy. The scenery that can never be seen on the ground, the miraculous scene that belongs to the dungeon, appeared in front of his eyes. Flan knew that the destination had been reached. A vast, long and wide gigantic hall. It is completely different from the middle layer that Flan has seen along the way, which belonged to the maze of caves, with messy shapes and fancy decorations. It should not be said to be two types. This huge hall is in the shape of a flat rectangular parallelepiped. From the wide entrance where the blonde woman stands, to the deepest part of the cave room, it is almost 200 meters long. If you just look at the length, it should be bigger than the monster grain depot you've seen before. Although the width on the left and right is not that exaggerated, it is more than 100 meters. As for the height of the ceiling, it is also amazingly exaggerated. It should be 20 or 30 meters. Whether it is the walls or the ceiling, this giant grotto room perfectly fits the characteristics of the grotto labyrinth, and is composed of rough rock blocks. But only the structure of the wall on the left is different. The surface made people doubt their own eyes, as if someone had polished it, without any bumps. It is as if many stonemasons have worked on it. The wall has no seams, and it extends from one end of the cave to the other end, directly facing the entire field of vision. The magnificent smooth walls exude colorful mysterious brilliance, shining brightly and mysteriously. No matter how magnificent, or awe-inspiring this cave room is, Flan doesn't care at all. All his attention was focused on this strange wall that looked rather gorgeous but extremely unnatural. Looking up at the smooth giant wall, Flan sighed. This is the Wall of Sighing, named by the adventurers who came here and returned to the surface alive, the last wall of the 17th floor, the last fortress. It is also the wall that will only give birth to specific monsters, as the Master of Floors, and Lone King of the Labyrinth, Goliath. Quote. Well, Goliath was born from this wall. Be careful, Flan. I can feel it watching us. The blood of the elves flows in Icy's body, plus the sensitivity of the skill, Revenge Princess, to monsters. Her perception does not know how many stars more than Flan. If she said this, then, it means that the Floor Master, Goliath has been born, and soon. Paji. A familiar voice sounded. It's just that compared with similar ones, this sound is extraordinarily loud, extraordinarily existential, and extraordinarily ritualistic. Flan's eyes widened, and Ace's pupils narrowed. Crack, crack. Inside the smooth wall, it seemed that something was using enormous power to keep hitting the fortress. This kind of scene, like a natural disaster, is for sale. The walls kept cracking. The voice became louder and louder, and the trembling voice gradually turned into a sigh-like heavy cry, shaking the huge cave hall. The avalanche-like sound made Flan's eardrums whine. As if reaching a certain critical point, a shock that was more terrifying than the previous some shattered the wall from the inside, and then. Deafening crashing sound. Flan held his breath. Boom. Huge rocks shattered and flew in all directions, and the collapsed debris flew and rolled to the ground. Then, there was a boom sound as if something heavy fell to the ground. That showed up. What a colossal thing it was, the whole body filled Flan's entire field of vision, and he let out a heart-shattering exclamation. Au! Immediately, the super-large monster with extremely high intelligence locked the target on the two tiny individuals. Ace, back off. Well, like oil. The sword fairy girl touched the ground with her toes, and retreated lightly to the entrance of the passage, silently blessing in her heart like a wife who was watching over to prepare for battle. Flan took a deep breath, and drew a specially prepared two-handed sword from behind. Holding the hilt tightly, the tip of the big sword fell obliquely to the ground. The fighting spirit was burning in the golden pupils. Here I come, monster. Here I come, monster. Flan growled for the first time in battle. The blue streamers around the golden pupils are shining brightly and circulating. Leaning his body and dragging his big sword, his left foot suddenly exerted force, and his foot cracked the ground, and at the same time, a high-pitched chanting sound came from his mouth. Come to the end. Ragnarok. Flan has changed. Black and red flames wrapped around his body, and the violent destructive power continued to spread. The gravel dust was blown away, and ring-shaped ripples erupted continuously centered on the soles of his feet. Sulcher. With a bang, he turned into a fired shell. Using unparalleled acceleration and inertia, he jumped straight up. With both arms exerting force, the extraordinary strength allows him to wield a two-handed sword that is not proportional to his body size with ease. He raised his head high, and bowed his body backwards, full of the destructive power of this blow. 0L. The monster's counterattack was so quick that it started reacting almost simultaneously with Flan's, September 27, attack. Huge arms and slaps whistling towards, as if slapping mosquitoes, the scene is ridiculous. Faced with the enemy's obstruction, Flan's forehead was bulging with blue veins, and he gathered all his strength for a blow, and surging fighting spirit surged from his eyes. Give me ah! Icy clenched her hands suddenly, staring at whether this blow could determine her advantage. PFF'd. Just as she expected, a glaring black light pulled out the phantom, cutting open the giant palm of the enemy without any hindrance. Puff puff. A huge amount of blood erupted from the enemy's wound, staining half of Flan's body red. Flying over the enemy, the corners of his side face and mouth are crazily raised. Feeling the blocking force just now, Flan instantly judged the enemy's defensive ability. LV.4. No, the durability of LV.5. Comparable to LV.4 low-level ability value, plus Sulcher, which has doubled the magic boost of Educated Scholar, it can only barely cut the enemy's skin. This joke is not funny at all. Crash la 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 la. After landing, he stuck his big sword into the ground, and he slid out for a long distance. Looking up at the huge enemy in front of him, he understood. If you want to knock down the enemy, you must break the enemy's defense. To achieve this goal, one knife is definitely not enough. Then there is only continuous magic bombardment in high-speed battles to weaken the enemy and finally achieve the purpose of breaking the defense. It's no wonder that in the case of equal combat power, it is necessary to rely on the team to defeat the floor master. It is not something a mere person can afford to attack with all their strength. But such a result further highlights how strong the hangers who can single out the floor master are. Such as Sword Fairy, such as Fighter. Readjusting his breathing, Flan calmly started the fierce battle with the super-large floor master at his own pace. The fierce battle between adventurers and monsters has begun. The capricious black light kept slashing across various parts of the enemy's body. The powerful power made every step of the big sword bring deep and high damage to the floor owner. But in the face of the enemy's super-large body, this kind of damage sharing has a sense of scraping. Compared with his own size, Goliath used his huge body to sway and trample against enemies who were able to jump around nimbly and freely. Occasionally he could hit a blow, but his dexterous figure removed most of his strength. Deals considerable damage. Both sides can't do anything about the enemy for a while, so they can only continue, consume, and confront like this. Da da da. Telelele. The sound of chaotic footsteps came from behind. Icy, who was watching the battle, turned around suddenly, and then her eyes widened slightly. Tiona, and the leader, Riveria, Grace, and even Lefia, Raul, Angie, Cruz, Alvi, Lynn, Miss Alicia are here up. Unfortunately, Rocky's main force has basically arrived. Only poor Bert was left in the LV.5 regiment, who stayed in the station under Loki's forced order. It's just another Ace's weirdness. Why is everyone wearing hoods and cloaks? Everyone, including Finn, looked embarrassed. It can't be said that in order to watch this epic battle, the great cause praised by the gods, they came secretly, right? Ahem, Ace. How is the battle going? Ace tilted her head cutely and blinked. Just started. Fortunately, caught up. And you said, if you hadn't wasted so much time rushing up to see monsters on the road or something, we'd be here now. Okay, stop arguing, you two sisters, do you want to miss such a wonderful battle? Leader I'm wrong. Captain, are you sure you're reprimanding Miss Tion, not giving him benefits? Raoul reminded with embarrassment. Hey. Finn shook his head bitterly, and the other team members covered their mouths and snickered. Tiona rubbed her forehead and rolled her eyes. My sister is so stupid and so easy to fool. Hey, Flan actually used a big sword. At this time, the dwarf warrior tore off his cloak angrily, and asked Ice curiously. Well, he seems to have been prepared for a long time, specially built to deal with super large floor owners. Speaking of which, this kid is still a blacksmith, which is really convenient. Even if it's a big sword, the damage to Goliath, who specializes in durability, is limited. Finn's words just fell. Full of charm, unique sense of rhythm and beautiful mantra chants were introduced to everyone's ears. Proud warriors, archers of the forest. Advancing marauders ahead, take up your foe 27. Respond to the voice of compatriots, knocking the arrow. Everyone's eyes widened suddenly, staring closely at the black Balrog who was moving around the huge monster and waving a big sword to inflict wounds on the enemy. Hey, no way. Raoul, who didn't know the news, stared blankly, opened his mouth wide open and looked up at the figure who was chanting the spell in the rapid battle. Miss Alicia covered her mouth in surprise, and looked at Rafia frequently. That incantation. Could it be possible? Rafia's big eyes were shining brightly, and her expression was adored to the extreme. It's my magic. The chant like a song continues. Light up the flames, lights of the forest. Order you to shoot arrows, fire arrows of elves. Suddenly falling like rain, burning the barbarians. The voice became louder and louder, and the surging magic power even made the black and red flame thunder wrapped around him start to sway. With a wave of Finn's hand, everyone stands on their backs. Coming. Flan's eyes suddenly opened wide, and the mental power that poured out like a flood was poured into his magic. It was operated to the extreme, and even made the blue halo of his eyes shine brightly. The rapid movement and slashing from top to bottom mercilessly tore apart the enemy's frontal defense, revealing crimson wounds. Following the slide after landing, the young man held a knife with one hand and took out a staff from his waist with the other. The next second, the terrifying magic power spewed out through the boost of Shui Kang 3.4 staff. Fusilla de Falerica. The high-temperature light arrow lit by the gushing magic power draws a golden arc in the tall cave room, and the dense scalp-numbing high-temperature magic bullet instantly covers the entire body of the enemy. Boom 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 boom. Aau! The screams that shook the eardrums resounded through the entire 17th floor, and even shook the 18th floor. The horrific bombardment wreaked havoc on Goliath with astonishing magical power. The wounds all over his body were torn and burned, his blood was evaporating, and the pain that pierced his bones made him struggle crazily. Wow, this is Goliath, it's the first time we've seen each other. Rocky. Everyone who witnessed this exciting scene suddenly heard the voice of their own Lord God, and their thinking stopped for a moment. Loki. Hey, don't be kidding. The gods expressly forbid entering the dungeon. It's good not to be discovered. Besides, you have so many people protecting me, what are you afraid of? Finn's blood aroused by Flan's battle was completely cooled down by Loki's cold water. Well, you're all here anyway, Bert. Humph. The young werewolf wagged his tail and walked over with a displeased expression on his face. Riveria closed one eye and said with a smile. How could Loki come to the 17th floor by himself? Only Bert's foot strength could make it with her on his back. It's so noisy. How it turned out, Loki squinted his eyes, looked ahead at the smoke that filled the entire huge cave room, and looked for that figure. Flan used Lefia's cannonball magic with parallel chant. Is it so powerful? Riveria squinted her slender eyes and said the answer. It can pose a fatal threat to LV.5, at least. Extraordinary magic attributes, plus the wide area annihilation magic chanted in the long article, and the overall power of the eruditionist, doubled by $2. All-out bombardment, at least LV.5 level. Riveria just conservatively estimated Flawn's magical power, but everyone can see that this is not a level that LV.5 can handle. So, he succeeded. No, there's still Goliath's aura. And, how strange, the aura hasn't weakened at all, and it's even growing. Icy suddenly stared round her golden pupils, her expression full of disbelief. Hey, no way. Abnormal situation. Finn bit his thumb, squinted his eyes and stared at the smoke, and resolutely said the word that made all adventurers terrified. Bursts of strange red light covered the body surface of Titan, making its bruises and miserable wounds begin to heal visible to the naked eye. In just a few seconds, it was completely restored to the state before the battle. At this time, the figure of the young man also appeared in everyone's field of vision. Who? Flawn bent over, the tip of the big sword stuck on the ground, panting heavily. Seeing the changes in Goliath, he didn't show any frustration on his face, and even faintly looked happy. Did the dungeon sense Loki's divine power? Under normal conditions, it is absolutely impossible to discover. But now I'm fighting Goliath, maybe it is paying attention here, maybe it's lucky to find it. In the eyes of everyone, the body of that huge monster gradually changed from brown to darker, and there was even an illusion of indestructibility. Knowing this change, Flawn understands that Goliath has evolved with the help of the dungeon. Black Goliath, LV.5 feet S main floor super rare species. A special monster that will be born only under the interference of divine power. Goliath, whose full attributes have been increased to LV.5, can even reach LV.6 in terms of durability, plus that special skin. That's what makes it interesting. The boiling fighting intent surged in his heart. The heart that had been silent for a long time was warmed up again, which made Flawn feel like he was watching hot-blooded comics when he was a child. This feeling is long gone. He tore off the fire elf cloak on his body, bare his upper body, straightened his waist. The blonde hair fluttered under the eruption of the black-red flames, and the piercing pupils that shone with azure brilliance stared straight at the enemy. The colossal oppressive force was like a strong wind blowing against him, but the standing figure did not retreat. Come on, monster. With a bang, Flawn took the initiative to attack. LV.2 vs LV.5 Floor Master, bet on the death fight of life, bloom again. Drink. Flawn jumped up and slashed at the enemy with his big knife, but the more exaggerated durability than before made him frown tightly. The slash of gnashing teeth is only to the extent of cutting the skin, and then it regenerates and recovers in an instant. Terrifying regenerative power. What to do with Finn? Flawn will die if this goes on. Don't be nervous, Rafia. There are so many of us here, even if he fails, he won't lose his life. That's right. Flawn can do everything he can to risk his life in a deathmatch, and it is these partners who are behind him. From the moment he chose the family, he knew that there would be such a day. Now, his choice bears fruit, and the fetters are born. The figure of his companion gave him infinite strength, let him gamble everything and face his own enemies with all his strength. Puff puff. One knife, another knife. Useless, all useless. Roar. The potential ability of the angry Goliath has been greatly increased, while Flawn, who has always maintained an attribute advantage, has been at a disadvantage in all aspects except that the damage of the magic bombardment can barely suppress the enemy. The consequences will soon be reflected in the battle. Swinging the knife again, without giving Flawn time to distance himself, the enemy's palm unexpectedly predicted his landing point one step ahead. Not good. Everyone's eyes were wide open, and Icy even put her hand on the hilt of the sword. Stop, Ace. Riveria pinned the girl's trembling shoulders and ordered her to stay where she was. My thumb tells me it's not that simple. Although Finn has a heavy expression, he can still hold his breath. With a loud bang, Flawn was slapped on the ground. And this is not over yet. The young man who fell to the ground with a mouth full of blood couldn't even use his strength, and was kicked away by Titan's big feet before he had time to dodge. His body was smashed into the rubble pile like a rag, Terrifying, the impact force made him spurt blood again, and then fell limply into the stone pile. Who? Goliath, who slapped the little bug to death with a set of combos, roared excitedly. Struggling to get up, the figure leaned on the ground with one hand, spitting blood non-stop. His face was bright red, dripping down his chin. 480's body suffered heavy injuries, the torn muscles, the shoulder blades exposed to the air, and even the viscera that had undergone sublimation of ability values, were also aching. This blow almost broke his spine. I don't know how many pieces were broken. Bah! Spit out a mouthful of bloody saliva, and Flan cursed with a grim expression. But it is too naive to want to defeat adventurers with infinite obsessions like this. That figure, relying on amazing willpower, stood up again. Then, under the stunned gaze of everyone, there was an unusual move. Healing drops, tears of light, eternal sanctuary. Calling medicine is played here. The melody of 365. The calendar of healing will save all things. Then, come, let's destroy the evil. Bury the wound, bury the pain. Send the curse to the other shore, to the cardinal of light. In the name of the gods, healed by me. The soft, holy, pure, heart-warming, and hopeful white magic radiance bloomed. The mysterious white holy light magic circle unfolded around Flan, and amazing magic essence rose up, and then enveloped his figure. Head of the regiment, although I have only seen it once, I will not admit my mistake. That's Amids. Then, the young man shouted out the name belonging to it. Dia Flatel. The corner of Bert's mouth twitched secretly, and he turned his head and cursed in a low voice. Battlefield Saintess S complete cure, this one. An astonishing magic power occupied a corner of the grotto, impacting everyone's minds. The magic of the Battlefield Saintess, who claims to be able to resist the battle line with only one person, unexpectedly appeared on this person in front of him. Tion looked at it stupidly, and murmured. This is not a joke. This guy is too perverted. Loki didn't speak the whole time, but just stared at the heroic figure of his own child with his red eyes. But, the upturned corners of his mouth indicated the mood of this god. This child, has he even learned this? Then there is no problem. Feeling the shoulders that were not trembling in her hand, Rivria let go of ice. Well, I can definitely win. The girl was so sure. No one knows what she thinks in her heart, why she is so sure. As if foreshadowing her words, the young man completed the healing when the enemy made further moves. Although it still looks quite embarrassing, the severely injured body is undoubtedly fine, and it will not affect the degree of combat effectiveness. After wiping away the blood that covered his eyes, the corners of the young man's mouth rose wildly, he clenched his fists hard, and looked up at the huge enemy. Hey, let's start the second round now, monster. Come to the end. Ragnarok. Sulcher. With a low voice, Flan went up to meet him in a straight line. When he passed by the big sword, he grabbed it in his hand, and he jumped up with a swing of his arm, and it was a knife. Such an attack is useless against the current floor master, the enemy's movements must be restricted. But, impossible. No, there is still a chance. LV.6 feet's durable expertise made Flan's attacks futile, but, effectively contained the enemy. With all his strength and wild ambitions, Flan burst out with full strength, and the attack on the enemy was fleeting. Faster speed, heavier attack, more sensitive movement, more rhythmic fighting art. Is he, one hit back, avoiding a hard hit? But, his attributes are completely crushed by the enemy. You're wrong, Tion. The enemy is indeed stronger, but you won't forget the basics of super large species, right? Captain, what do you mean? Yeah, as long as you attack around the blind spot, there will be no problem. That's right, Flan does just that. Even if your attributes are higher than mine, so what? As long as your movements are not flexible, and you can attack you at a blind spot. In this way, I still occupy the initiative. The death struggle continued, the cave was shaking, and time was passing by. This battle that can shock the entire Orario has lasted for 8 hours. After using the right technique and game, the two sides maintain a certain delicate balance, and it just consumes the place. Supplies are being consumed one by one: recovery medicine, advanced recovery medicine, advanced mental power recovery medicine, dual attribute recovery medicine. Until the last elixir was consumed. At this moment, right now, Flan has no way out. Goliath, who is highly intelligent, keeps using his own advantages to consume Flawn's durability, and Flawn's repeated attacks that fail to make achievements and the exhausted elixir make him a little irritable. But, is that the real result? Flawn, who took the initiative, continued to maintain the pressure. For some reason, he gradually had the leeway to do other things. If you return to the ground, you will see the scene of nature. The sky darkened, the bright moon shyly hid in the clouds and mist, the stars began to shine, and the night fell. Almost simultaneously, the red-haired god and Flawn fell. The final game has begun. Loki. It's night now, Finn. Hearing her meaningful words, everyone immediately looked at Ms. Alicia. Miss Goblin took out a pocket watch made of exquisite goblin craftsmanship from her bosom, opened it and took a look. The pointer stops at 19 o'clock. Everyone understands it, but some people are still confused. It's coming. It is indeed the final battle. Rahul and Cruz were at a loss. They didn't know why. They just felt that the eyes of their partners had changed. The clear and graceful chant that reverberated in the huge cave room sounded again. That was the final signal to start a deathmatch, the cry of war. The harbinger of the end, the white snow. Facing the dusk hour, roll up the strong wind. Enclosed light, frozen earth. This magic. Fairy Lady Alicia looked at the noble fairy royal family, waiting for her to tell the truth. It's my magic. Even Lady Riveria's magic. Finn quickly analyzed the information on the battlefield in his brain, and soon understood Flawn's thoughts. It turned out to be like this: while using the initiative I had to suppress, I chanted Riveria's ice magic to restrict the enemy, and then. It is indeed the most correct choice at the moment. I just don't know how long I can limit the enemy. Then Bert interrupted their nonsense roughly. Hey, hello, is this the point? Shouldn't the point be that this guy continuously uses the same additional magic as ice, and uses 80% of the mental power of the idiot's bombardment magic, plus Battlefield Saintess' healing magic? And now he's using Riveria's shelling magic again. Does he have more mental power and magic power than the idiot? Loki put his arms around Bert's shoulders with a smile, and moved his lips. Reader, double the night effect, oh tilde Bert. With the suffocating answer, Bert felt like he was about to burst. Ha 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 ha, do you have a sense of sight of someone turning into a beast when the moon is full? It's annoying. Isn't that right? The activation conditions of Reader and Bert's roaring under the moon, or similar, one is activated in the dark night, and the other is activated on the night of the full moon. At the same time, Flawn, who had been in the long and fierce battle, felt the surging speed of mental power recovery, and his long-planned plan finally unfolded. Flawn's durability is declining, so Goliath is not degraded. How is that possible? With the monster's current state, Flawn is 100% sure that even Riveria's first spell can restrain the enemy. Then, just kill. Blowing snow all over the sky, 3 severe winters. My name is Alf. Ecstasy winter of Finbull. Under the gaze of more than a dozen dignified gazes. The magic belonging to Riveria, the city's strongest wizard, is complete. Hoo. The final cold wind froze the earth, the walls, the caverns, and all the individuals in sight, including Goliath. The huge ice sculpture more than 10 meters high waved its arms, and its ferocious face was frozen in place. The lifelike ice sculpture made everyone sigh from the bottom of their hearts. There is still breath, still alive. Ace clenched her hands nervously, and her heart couldn't help beating faster. An inexplicable sense of tension filled everyone's bodies. They looked at the young man's figure and looked forward to it in their hearts. Looking forward to the miracles created by youth. Jiao Wang Jiao. As if to respond to everyone's expectations, the young man inserted the large sword with a crumbling blade that was on the verge of breaking into the ground, and opened his arms. He looked up at the huge monster, and connected the second wide area annihilation magic without any gap. Shortly, the flames will be released. The quietly approaching flames of war, the inevitable destruction. The war horn sounds high-pitched, and the war that surrounds all tyranny is coming, the flame of the red lotus. Fire without mercy, you are the incarnation of karmic fire, sweeping away thousands of troops and drawing the end of a large-scale war. Lu. Burn everything, Sword of Shirtle, my name is Alfred. As his chants became more and more passionate, terrifying magic power erupted that made the ground tremble. Jingjing's magic essence turned him into the eye of the storm, gathering together. The astonishing fluctuations spread to the entire cave, and the air began to distort. Pour all my spiritual power and magic power into this blow, burn my ambitions, respond to the expectations of my partners, dedicate everything to me, and give me miracles. Advanced Sword of Victory, Realiavatine. Burn, burn, burn. The ground is burning, the walls are burning, the dome is burning. Rocks are burned, air is twisted, and vision is filled with crimson. The huge cave was filled with flames, and the pillar of fire that burned everything strangled all enemies pointed by the sword. The floor master standing in the center was burned, turned into bones, and turned into fly ash, and even the huge magic stone was turned into magic essence. Standing in front of this raging red lotus scene, that figure has achieved a feat that even the gods would be crazy about, accomplished a great miracle, and also responded to the expectations of his partners. What a wonderful story, the birth of an epic fairy tale. Sing praises, gods, and sing praises to my children. Loki opened his divine eyes, opened his arms and praised loudly. What are you waiting for? Didn't you see that Icy has rushed up? Finn made fun of the people who were still in a daze, and darkened the back of the blonde girl. Huh. Wow 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 wow. Ace, you little clever ghost, let you get ahead of me. Tiona jumped up, and also rushed out quickly. Ooh. Everyone looked at each other, then rushed over 760 at the fastest speed and surrounded Flan. Then, everyone found out. The blonde young man who created an incredible miracle and achieved such a great deed has already passed out standing up because of mental fatigue, wind down, and physical exhaustion. Riveria, Finn, Grace and Loki looked at each other, dumbfounded. It's really, there is no way. Bert. Hey, don't come to me for this kind of shit. You can't let the old man recite it. You young man, do you want to respect the elders? Fool old man, you actually arranged for me such a dirty job. Who do you say is the old man? I am talking about you. At last. The young werewolf still carried Flan on his back with a stinky face. Then Raoul with excellent professionalism found the dropped items from Black Gloria's body. Captain, this is Black Gloria's hard skin and teeth. Drop items, a LV.6 mutant, this is quite a rare item. Since Flan hunted it down, let's put it away for him. The little one knows. If a sober Flan knew that Gloria had dropped the Black Gloria's hard skin, he, CGBA, would probably jump up excitedly. This thing is definitely a super artifact. That astonishing defensive power could not even leave any traces of the professional butcher of the dungeon, Jagnot, nicknamed Calamity, Claw to break. This shows how awesome this is. What's more frightening is that it is not metal, and it cannot even be made into coins through the work of a blacksmith. Everyone was smiling from the heart, chatting about the battle just now. They didn't stop any longer. Following the regular route of the dungeon, the Loki family led the comatose Flan back to the ground swaggeringly. This scene, even at night, was seen by many adventurers staying in the dungeon, and even sparked heated discussions. After all, that is one of the two strongest families of Warario, and all members were dispatched, and some even saw the figure of their main god Loki. I was seen entering the dungeon, that old fellow Uranus must know, what should I do? The poor at home can't be unveiled. Wow, when we were fined, we couldn't even drink it. Seeing the heart-piercing cry of her Lord God, Riveria closed one eye and pretended not to see it. Grace simply kept away from her eyes and mind, and finally Finn, who was picked up by Loki, was full of joy. His face was helpless and his head ached. Loki, don't shake it, don't shake it. Hey, you can pay the fine. Anyway, the time for the expedition is coming. Isn't the mandatory task just urging us to explore the dungeon? It doesn't matter. This time we have to accept the goods a little richer will solve the problem. It's really impossible, isn't there still Flan? Let him learn how to forge the magic sword, can he help the family to some extent? Snapped. Loki clapped his hands and laughed instantly. What is it with being a bit evil? That's it. Isn't it a waste of resources to leave such a senior blacksmith here? Flan, who is still awake, has no idea that his future work has been arranged. Proper treatment for tool workers. On the other side, the 18th floor of the underground city, the small town of Rivera. The 18th floor of the dungeon, this is one of the few safe floors, in the dungeon that will not spawn monsters. Here, there is a town run by adventurers, Rivella Town. Although it was constantly being destroyed by monsters that occasionally came to this floor, these high-level adventurers were always able to rebuild the town in the first place. So far, it seems to have been 332 times. Also known as the 332nd rebuilt Rivera Town. This is a town located at the deepest point in the world, and it is also the first line to develop the actual underground labyrinth. The town of Rivera, which gathers a large number of high-level adventurers, manages the necessities of various adventurers, and of course some luxury accessories. Because of the geographical location, whether it is accommodation, drinks, food or commodities, the price here is basically 10 times higher than the ground. In other words, it is a black market for all villains. Of course, it is precisely because of his strength that he can hang out in this place. Rivera's town boss, Bosch hurried back to the store with his face twitching. Monster, monster, monster. That guy is a monster. Are you kidding me? He singled out the floor master whose mutation level reached LV.5 and won the battle. Nima's joke is not funny at all. Also, the Loki Familia guys like Finn, Riveria, and Grace are also there. Could it be that the man is a newcomer to the Loki Familia? Hiss, hiss, this news is terrible. No, I don't want to be troubled, I'll rot in my stomach. However, the sky was not as good as people wished, and Bosch, the town leader, was not the only one who saw the scene where Flan singled out the floor master. Did you see it too? Ah, I'm so scared to death, singled out the floor master or something. I heard it's from the Loki family. Gossip, someone saw the entire Loki family mobilize. It's lively on the ground now. It's not like, hey, I seem to remember something. What? The Balrog incident. You mean, the Black Balrog. Ah, you're blind, that person is using the same additional magic as Sword Fairy, black flames wrap around him, who else could it be if it's not the Balrog? Nima, the case has finally been solved, Blaze Demon actually belongs to the Loki family. Before, there were idiots talking nonsense, saying that it was a play put on by liars for fame, but this time it's lively. Let's go back to the ground and watch the excitement. One wave of ups and downs, another wave, the Balrog incident has not yet passed, and this time the real body was even picked out. I'm afraid Flan can't keep a low profile if he wants to. It is estimated that when he wakes up, he will find that the whole world has changed. Above ground, the subterranean prayer room of the Union headquarters. The old god Uranus sat on the stone chair for thousands of years, his serious face remained calm. Under the stone ladder in front of him, a thin figure wearing a pitch-black cloak quietly observed the projection in the crystal ball in front of him, and slowly turned around. Single-handedly defeated the mutated, floor master, Goliath, estimated that the potential ability has reached LV.5, the durability specialty has been specialized, and the defense power has reached LV.6. And it has the ability to regenerate at super high speed. If you can't kill it with one blow, it's just a dream to succeed in the crusade. Quote. Then, the old god spoke. In the end, it was a success. That's right, Jills. Ah, this is a true miracle, a great achievement that can be praised by the gods. If it weren't for the Loki family, those gods would have rushed to snatch people by now. Loki has never submitted information to the Union headquarters about this matter, so send someone to ask. Uranus, it's best not to fight against Loki's familia now. Now that they have another powerful force, the balance with Freya's familia has been broken. Especially for that matter, once they grasping the handle, we will be passive. Okay, but the superficial work still needs to be done for show, Flan Algon. Let Misha and Agina get in touch, even if it's a verbal inquiry. Understood. The southwest area of the city, located in the 5th district, is almost in the center of the bustling street. The magnificent mansion is like a temple. It heralds great wealth of its owner, power at the top and glory. If you take a bird's-eye view of the panorama from the sky, you will find that this place is far away from the Loki Familia base camp, Twilight Pavilion, located in the northern part of the city. Battle Wilderness, one of the two families standing at the top of Orario, the base camp of the Freya family. In the highest room of the majestic castle in the center, Through the huge floor-to-ceiling windows, you can see the huge bookshelves that almost fill the entire 3 walls. The luxurious armchair in the middle and the high-grade carpet covering the entire floor all show the luxury and taste of the owner. The goddess of beauty, Freya, gazed at a certain place through the huge floor-to-ceiling windows, and remained silent for a long time. Such an ordinary soul can achieve such a great cause. Oda. Yes. Like the most loyal servant of the goddess, an orc with short earth-red hair and a pair of boar ears. This is a giant man with a rock-like body and a height of more than 2 meters. Standing like a statue, literally, like a loyal watchdog waiting for the next words of the beloved goddess Freya. Do you have any ideas? Grow up and be a good opponent. Tilda, is it just an opponent? The goddess of beauty shakes the red wine glass, the purple eyes that seem to be able to see through the soul see through the reflection of the glass, and see her beautiful and suffocating face, and the charming arc of the lips, which makes people addicted. In the northeastern part of the city, the headquarters of Faith Toss families. The red-haired young man stood there stupidly, with his mouth wide open as if he could swallow a whole roast chicken. The funny appearance made the head of the faction, Chun, laugh so hard that he couldn't straighten up. The red-haired goddess sat behind the desk, folded her arms and watched the scene with interest, then glanced at the information on the desk. A person who has a hero's weapon. No. Hero's weapon doesn't seem to be enough to describe such a person, right? I don't know where Loki picked up that child. How is this possible? He is only LV.2, one-on-one floor master or something, this must not be the Flan Algon I know. Yes, it's an illusion. The red-haired youth is distraught and refuses to accept reality. Tisk tisk tisk, as a teammate, Wei Zizai, you have already fallen behind, If you don't show off your special skills, how can you form a team with others? I want you to take care of it, it's annoying to death. Opening up Tsubaki's arm, Welf roared irritably. No promise guy. These days when Flan was in a coma, with the spread from Rivella town, and witnesses, the incidents about Loki Familia, and Balrog became more and more noisy and heated, and it has already begun to ferment, and it is completely uncontrollable. The trend of living is even getting worse. The adventurers frantically wanted to break the casserole and ask him about his secrets. Bards and singers praised his great achievements, and even followed their footsteps to spread outside the city. In the tavern, the travelers and businessmen who came and went were also discussing this amazing news enthusiastically. They were looking forward to meeting such a hero. But all of this has nothing to do with the protagonist who is at the center of the vortex but has not yet regained consciousness. In other words, he was well protected by a powerful god. By the time Flan regained consciousness, it had been 3 days since he woke up. In the past 3 days, I don't know how many things happened. In short, Loki's family, the high-level people are now in a mess. The adventurers put pressure on the guild and wanted to get to the bottom of it. The union questioned Loki's family and asked the god Loki to explain. The whole Olali started to have undercurrents. Of course, most of them were the rats who took advantage of this incident to make their own little tricks. It's a pity that all events have hit a wall on the 4 words Loki Familia. The powerful main god suppressed all kinds of people who fanned the flames and wanted to watch the excitement, including the gods of pleasure who didn't think it was a big deal. Are you awake? The first person Flan saw when he opened his eyes was a bit of a surprise. Ace. God knows how long this girl has stayed here. Even the members of the family are whispering, and they heard that Loki was crying loudly in his divine room. Occasionally, the group members who passed by vaguely heard something. My. I Sidon no longer belongs to me or something. Well, I'm worried about you. She flirts with me. Flan blinked, tried to sit up, but he fell down completely weak. This feeling is much more comfortable than a pillow, and the taste engraved deep in my heart. Suck, suck. The innocent girl didn't respond, she just wondered why the young man looked so excited. Cough cough cough. How long have you been here? Always. Will it be troublesome? The girl shook her head, making a lovely hem in her nasal voice. Flan breathed a sigh of relief. After all, he couldn't understand the girl's desire to become stronger. Seems like something has changed now. The corner of his mouth twitched, feeling his dry throat, and Flan turned his head to reach for the water glass. As a result, the sore body has no strength, and the simple daily life becomes powerless. Seeing his appearance, IC stood up and helped him bring the cup over, and then. Ah tilde. No need, hey. But the girl is very kind, if she doesn't accept it, will she be disappointed? Sure enough, the power of SP is unlimited. Flan let the girl start feeding with peace of mind. Boom. Flan. You woke up. Nani. You fool, what did you do to my lovely ace tan? That what's going on with the wife's sense of deja vu. The god, who had just returned to the base camp, left. Loki, calm down, Loki, listen to my explanation. I listen to you ghost. I'm still sick, Loki, let me go. The noisy daily life began again the moment Flan woke up. In the large meeting room of Twilight Pavilion, the meeting about Flan started. Loki with a black face and Finn with a wry smile looked at Ice's mother Sunrivaria who was sitting beside Flan in 583, with the eyes of a child who had finally grown up and finally felt relieved, and laughed Grace. Sister Amazon sat on the other side of Flan, rubbing against his arm, and Tion stood next to Finn, having brought herself perfectly into roleplaying. Bert was leaning against the corner, with his arms folded and his face full of stinky farts. Rafia was shy, looking at Ace for a while, and Flan for a while. A fierce battle had already started in the small theater in her mind. Rahul stood humble at the door, looking left and right. And Chi looked at her contemporaries and kept sighing. Everyone's performance was watched by Flan, whose head was wrapped in bandages, and he couldn't help but lament that life is full of vicissitudes. Ahem, the meeting about Flan is now officially started. The first thing, Loki has already confirmed Flan's nickname from the unknown number of Shenhui, held yesterday, or the title is more formal. Flan twitched instinctively. Time back to 24 hours ago. Shenhui, or Congress of the Gods, meeting of the gods, whatever. The so-called Shenhui, traced back to its origin, is a kind of gathering planned by some gods to relieve boredom, similar to circle gatherings. After working hard, the gods have accumulated a certain amount of strength for their families and territories. After 10 gods can easily forget the hard work of living and hard work, they begin to degenerate. They became idle because they were bored, so they would invite some friends from the same country to pursue pleasure, or chat about trivial matters to pass the time. Anyway, to put it bluntly, it is a group of gods who have enough to eat and have nothing to do to get together to pass the boring time, chat about household chores, exchange information, ask if there is anything interesting, and the delicious dessert at the end, upgrade the person who decides the agenda of the title. Titles are born by the gods because of some bad tastes. In the Shenhui, the main god will give titles to the people who have upgraded. What do they look like? But its own meaning is, the strength is recognized by the gods, and it is the glory that only advanced adventurers can have. This kind of title is because the three views of the gods seem to be different from those of the children in the lower realm. For example, Dark Fallen Angel, Dawn Holy Dragon Knight, Ju Shadow, and other super secondary names. In the previous life, who would dare to shout in front of himself on the spot? For example, you are in class, and you read a novel on your mobile phone, and the teacher discovers it on the spot. Teacher. Dawn Holy Dragon Knight, hand over your phone. Someone. I advise you not to speak too arrogantly, this will only show your weakness. Classmates. Is there such thing as a public execution? But this is a different world, it seems that the children in the lower world prefer this style. Shenhui, the venue is located on the 30th floor of the skyscraper Tower of Babel. The interior structure of this modified tower used up a whole floor of the hall, knocked out all the compartments, and lined up thick and long columns to support the high ceiling. In the spacious space, there is only a large round table in the middle, without any other furniture. The walls in the distance are all made of huge glass, surrounded by the 30-story sky. And because the ceiling is unusually high, the whole space is like a temple in the air. Well, it's exactly what you'd imagine, a sky ballroom. At this time, the number of gods sitting on chairs separated by a certain distance can be as high as 30. In other words, in a labyrinth city like Olali, there are at least a family with the same number of LV.2 or higher adventurers. The images of the gods are various, some pursed their mouths and looked nervous, and some were smiling, their eyes were lightly closed and they were quite relaxed. Among them, a mysterious male god wearing a giant elephant mask stood in the middle of the venue. After looking around, he just wanted to say something. Loki walked into the venue cursing. Loki. The dignified goddess with the same hair color as her but with a black mask covering half of her face greeted Loki. Fifi Tilda. With tears in his eyes, Loki rushed towards the goddess whom she called Feifei in an instant. What's the matter? Is there anyone else who can bully you? Woo. My Azaton. The demure goddess is named He-Faith, yes. It is the main god and permanent president of the big forging faction, He-Faith Tas Familia, who came to Olali's designated place. Woo. Hurry up and comfort her. Hey, I said you. The gods were noisy, and a male god standing in the middle of the temple looked around. Then, everyone, the 1000th Gods Conference has officially begun, and this time the master of ceremonies is me, Ganesha. I am, Ganeshada. Gods. Hey, Ganesha, don't show your ridiculous pose anymore, even if it's funny, I've been watching it for hundreds of millions of years and I'm sick of it. That's right. Hurry up for the next topic. Cough. The elephant-masked male god didn't care about the ridicule of the gods, only heard him cough, and then said. The first is to exchange information, everyone can be serious. Yes. It's very lively in the city recently, isn't it, Loki? Hurry up, tell everyone about your child. Ah, that Balrog. Yes, about Balrog. Loki's face turned black and purple, his shoulders kept shaking because of anger, and then, he slammed the table and stood up, roaring. Shut up, everyone, or 3.4, believe it or not, we'll hang you naked in the square. Sure enough, the gods immediately shivered and quieted down. They really wanted to see the god who was stripped and hung in the square, but it was definitely not themselves. HMPH, I warn you guys. Wait for the final link, whoever dares to come for us. Loki opened his divine eyes and warned them with naked words. Yes, understand. The gods nodded like pounding garlic, and responded frantically. This is the advantage of the big faction. Power, territory, strength, except for business, Luo Ji, who comes to the summit of Warario, has a terrible right to speak. These pleasure monsters will definitely not seek death. So, my nickname is. Flan looked at Loki with numb eyes, expecting and complicated in his heart. Ah, your nickname is. On the huge notice board at the Adventurers Guild headquarters. Located in the most central position, paste a big notice. The main body is a portrait of a person, and the following is a brief description of the general situation and the great achievements obtained in common language. In the normally noisy hall, a needle drop could be heard at this time. The intelligence personnel of the various forces and families surrounding here, and the adventurers passing by were all silent at this time, and they could even hear the rapid breathing of others. Flan Algon, from the Loki Familia. Successfully defeated the 17th floor LV.5 mutant, floor master, Goliath alone. Level. LV.3 inches. Title, Balrog. A certain adventurer murmured out the above text. Then, this incident with a large amount of information that made people's scalp tingle was like a fuse, which immediately detonated everyone. LV.3, is this Nima blatantly deceiving us by the trade union? It must have covered up the real information. He only upgraded to LV.3 after successfully defeating the LV.5 floor master alone. Doesn't that mean that he only had LV.2? It's outrageous, what is this about 26? Even if it's a joke, it's not like that. The Loki family must give an explanation. Then, someone who had just finished speaking harsh words was ridiculed contemptuously by the adventurer next to him. Are you going to the Loki Familia for an explanation? Are you trying to laugh me to death so I can carry on my legacy at Goblin Gold Curry? Why don't you go to the member of Freya's family to ask for an explanation, and you don't weigh yourself? Idiot. You, a newcomer. Honestly explore the dungeon to make money, improve your strength by the way, go to the tavern to have a drink or two in the evening, this is not a good day, why do you want to die? Hey. Someone patted him on the shoulder, pity and lament. In the eyes of this group of low-level adventurers, the Loki family is a giant. There are dozens of people in the entire family, all of whom are high-level adventurers. According to the division of positions, the grassroots personnel are generally LV.2, the team leader is LV.3, and the second echelon personnel are all LV.4. LV.5 is cadres, and leaders are LV.6. That's pretty much it. In other words, Flan has been promoted to the grassroots level from the initial level of logistics digging potatoes, and now he can serve as a small team leader. Twilight Pavilion. Blaze Demon. What kind of nickname is this? Because of the second grade. Flan's face contorted. Loki crossed his legs and squinted his eyes, and snorted. This is our right to speak. If it wasn't for me, hee hee. Don't even think about such ordinary titles. Maybe, the Dark Flame Emissary, and the Magic Warrior of the Night will fall on your head up. The veins on the back of Flan's hands were bulging, and the information in his hands was directly crushed into waste paper. Hey. In the end, under the majesty of the gods, someone still bowed his head. I really like the nickname Balrog. Ace tilted her body at 8 degrees, raised her head slightly, looked at Flan with golden eyes, and said words that broke Loki's heart. Ah, since that's the case, then, it's okay. Double standard dog. With a click, just like the wine glass in his hand, Loki's mentality collapsed. As for Rifia, who was standing beside her, she felt that her tiny body was about to split apart. Ah, Miss Ice. What's the matter, Chifia? Ah, no, nothing. Yes, Mr. Flan is also my dream object, just like Ms. Ace. And Mr. Flan's level has already caught up with me, so I have to work hard. Okay, everyone, let's talk about the business. The leader of the little people clapped their hands and focused everyone's attention. The time for the next expedition has been confirmed, according to the plan, just 5 days later. Everyone seems to have known it a long time ago, their faces are full of excitement and eager to try. Only Flan is completely clueless. Speaking of which, Flan doesn't know about it yet. You have to act together this time, you have the qualifications. Finn looked at him with a smile, then looked around at everyone. This was agreed by me, Riveria, and Grace, and I asked all the cadres for their opinions, and the results were all approved. Then he made another little joke. Isn't it strange that you don't pass? Isn't that right, everyone? Originally, the heroic figure of Flan and Gloria in battle is still deeply imprinted in my mind. It's so handsome, it's like, an ancient hero. Tiona was like a puppy, constantly hugging his arm and whistling. This innocent character is really. No matter what, it makes people feel uneasy. Icy's eyes were also piercing, sparkling with inexplicable colors. Will he be my hero? Quote. With a sob in his heart, Flan looked around at everyone. Thank you for your recognition, I will definitely work hard. Bert folded his arms and leaned against the wall, with a sideways face and a venomous tongue. Cut. Don't hold us back when the time comes, you weakling, or I'll kill you. Wow. Out. Appeared. The Tsunere wolf that Flan said. Shut up, Amazon, watch out, I'll kill you. Who is afraid of whom? I will give you a hand. I'll give you 2 hands. Everyone. It's crooked. Okay, don't make a fuss. The next thing is the specific agenda of the expedition, you all listen carefully. Let's talk about the purpose first. Our goal this time is the 52nd floor. The reason why the last expedition failed on the 49th floor was because of the unexpected incident of Monsters Banquet, which led to riots in the wild wilderness. Quote. This time we must not make the mistake of last time. We must reserve combat power in case of abnormal situation in the dungeon. And, I have to say in advance, if you several cadres break away from the front line to fight against such chaos alone like last time, I will be serious. Do you understand? Don't worry, Leader tilde, I will take good care of them. I get a headache just because you get angry. Tion is usually quite reliable, and she is quite calm in battle. It's just that, once she encounters something that she doesn't like, she will go berserk. Compared with the innocent younger sister, she is the truly uncontrollable bomb. Okay, get ready these days. Your weapons, equipment, and supplies must be well prepared, and the family members are under a lot of financial pressure right now. To put it bluntly, the family has no money. This is normal, and it will be clear after a little calculation. A large number of spare weapons prepared for combat members, such as big swords, spears, shields, etc., of course, are of first-class quality, and the starting price is tens of millions. The monsters in the deep layer are generally large species, and they wear out their weapons quite quickly. Is the loss of cutting a unicorn rabbit the same as cutting Gloria? In a fierce battle, a single weapon is simply not enough for a first-level adventurer, unless attack power is sacrificed to use an indestructible weapon. Then there is the magic sword. As the price of being able to easily possess great power, the magic sword will break after the magic power is exhausted. In other words, it is a consumable. However, the starting price of even the smallest dagger and magic sword is 1,000,000 mana, and the more powerful long sword and giant axe are even more expensive. For example, the magic sword made by Chun can easily threaten first-level adventurers. There are not tens of millions of such magic swords, so don't even think about it. After that, there are medicines. If you don't upgrade the level recovery medicine and mental power recovery medicine, you can say panacea, a panacea, and the sales price of a panacea in the Dean Kite family is 500,000 fares. The panaceas prepared during the expedition were all in bundles. The total price of weapons, equipment, and medicines is almost hundreds of millions of baileys, all of which are drizzle. As for other things, such as food, camping equipment, magic props and so on, they don't count. Probably that's all. Then, after returning, at least get the dropped props and magic stones that can be sold at this price, so as to barely make back the cost, not counting the time and energy spent on the expedition. There may be some casualties or something, and the aftermath will cost a huge amount of treatment expenses. Speaking of which, Flan, can you forge the magic sword now? Remembering that there was a senior blacksmith in his family, Finn had an idea and asked. Flan was still passively hugging left and right at this moment, and then the corners of his mouth twitched. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't had time before. I'll go to the workshop to try it out in a few days. Well, let's forget about this expedition, there will be another one anyway. Flan himself is also looking forward to making the magic sword. Although he does not have the bonus of elf blood, the power of the magic sword he forges will definitely not be as powerful as Krozo's magic sword, but he has skills. Educated, increase the power of magic swords and magic tools. In Flan's hands, an ordinary magic sword can be used in a flashy manner. Okay, that's all there is to it. Get ready. By the way, we want to remind you, don't go on an expedition with the magic tool made by Flan, don't forget. Everyone's heart sank, and then they all looked at the magic tools on their wrists. Otherwise, how can we say that these LV.5 first-level adventurers are all monsters? In just a few months, they have already adapted to living and even fighting within gravity. Who knows how much their abilities have increased? Ice, how much has your ability increased? Flan whispered in the girl's ear. Well, except for strength and durability, everything has reached S. That's too much, a suppressing wrist guard can improve so much. He vaguely remembered that before Ice rose to LV.6, there should only be 2 AT1s. It's so much stronger now. Thank you, Flan. I can continue to grow stronger thanks to your magic items. That's your own effort, the magic props are just accelerated. Okay, the smell in the house has changed, can you two stop first? Ace. Flan. After the meeting, he was completely idle. Flan, we're going to the Dean Kite family, do you want to come together? After thinking about it, after I fought with Goliath, no matter whether it is weapons or equipment, everything is finished now. Okay, I have to add. Adventurers Avenue, Dean Kate Treatment House. Welcome, everyone of the Loki family. Do you need anything this time? Long time no see, Ed. Tion stepped forward to greet the delicate silver-haired girl, and then lay down on the counter to have an intimate conversation with her. Amid, help me get 20 high-level recovery medicines. I also want 20 of the same. I want 10 high-level mental recovery potions. Tion, Tiona, and Rafia bought the medicines they needed one after another, including I himself who also prepared some. Well, 5 panacea medicines, 10 high-level mental recovery medicines, and 10 high-level recovery medicines. Mr. Flan. Yeah, long time no see, and I didn't expect you to visit with Tion and Miss Ice. Well, it's a bit complicated to say. Isn't this an expedition right away, you know what I mean. So that's the case, can I ask everyone to help me collect some props? It's a commission. Of course, after all we have such a good relationship, you will give us a good price, a tilde mi tilde de tilde tilde. Mademoiselle Thione joked. The two women confronted each other across the counter, and there was lightning in their eyes. The terrifying aura once made Flan wonder if Gloria ran to the ground with her fists waving wildly. Maybe, women are scary when bargaining, and Diona, who has encountered this situation a long time ago, has long been hiding away. By the way, Mr. Flan, the renovation of your magic workshop has already started. As for the time, about 15 days, it's what Loki said. Chatting with Rafia. The efficiency of the Gubernius family is too high. After all, it is the family of the gods built by the official. When my mystery level increases, I can help you prepare the wand at that time, which can save a lot of money. Quote. Then, thank you in advance. You goblins are so stubborn, you all told me to call me Flan, and you, yours, and so on. We don't seem to be much different in age. But, in the end, the young man couldn't speak hard words to the twitchy girl, and could only turn into a deep sigh. Standing at the gate of the Dean Kite Treatment Center, everyone parted from Amide. Victory to you, Mr. Flan. I accept the protection of a beautiful girl. Does Mr. Flan always flirt like this with pretty girls? How is it possible? Only special girls will be treated like this. Then I'm really honored. Why did this girl's words become sharper, and she slipped away? Forge Workshop. After parting with everyone on the road, Flan called his teammates, and then came to Jiao Jiao Forging Workshop. Tisk tisk tisk, Blaze Demon, or something, I can't tell, you're good at it. Don't mention that hilarious nickname, okay. Isn't it very good, Blaze Demon, or something, and it's super suitable for you, okay, Black and Red Flame Thunder, ha 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 ha. Flan's face darkened, then his eyes narrowed and the corners of his mouth turned up. Do you want to guess what your future title will be? Let's think about it. Not cool, how do you think Ignis will be published? The iron block tempered by you will not cool down because of this little thing. What? Isn't it very romantic? If you could say this to Lord Faith, wouldn't you think, handsome? Welf was stunned for a moment, then blushed, and finally, ashamed and indignant. Die to Grandpa. In this way, Flan's happy daily life began again. Ding, ding, ding. In the narrow room, the small brilliance of the magic stone lamp flickered. But the main character at this time is a blazing fire, its high flame illuminates someone's side face, and the shadow reflected on the wall plays with the swing of his arm. Puff Kai. After being tempered, the sword body began to become more and more refined, and the black magic power flowing indistinctly made it look evil. Is that all right? As consumables, there is no need for redundant things like the hilt. What he holds in his hand is a strange one-handed sword without any decorations, only the hilt and the blade. It is a little inappropriate to call it a sword. The rough figure is just like the cave labyrinth, which gives people the feeling of roughness, firmness and simplicity, and the only advantage is the beautiful shape. If you look carefully, you will find that the sword body seems to be condensed with black flames, hot and cruel. Magic Sword. The first commemorative work created by the individual named Flan Algon. The red-haired youth picked up the magic sword named Fire Lion No. 1 and looked it over carefully. Tisk, is it worthy of being the owner of mystery? The power of this magic sword is already very strong. Quote. As for how strong it is, it depends on how you understand it. The magic power injected into the magic sword is all the magic sword blacksmith himself. In other words, the magic power in this magic creation is 050x level magic power outside the specification. Once the destructive black flame is released, it is equivalent to annihilating magic. It's almost, with a destructive power of LV.4, I don't know what's going on with you. Demonic swords of this quality are rare even in our family, and there are only a handful of people who can make them. Quote. Flan raised his eyebrows and tilted his head. Maybe, this is talent, right? You fool, take it upon yourself. Anyway, it's not as exaggerated as Krozo's magic sword. Hey, don't mention that surname again, okay? Hey, whatever you want. Since you have succeeded, then I will go back. Thank you this time. Anyway, I'm not asked to create a magic sword, so it doesn't matter. The red-haired youth waved his hands and left Flan's forging workshop. Watching his leaving back, someone pinched his chin and his eyes wandered thoughtfully. Krozo's demonic sword, the root cause of its exaggerated power is unknown to others, but I know the mystery of it. During the process of forging the magic sword, the blood of elves was mixed in, so it has such exaggerated power. This kind of forging technique is similar to that of Xiao He Dao, but the result is very different, God's skill. Quote. For this unknown knowledge, Flan was simply too hungry. But obviously for him at the moment, there is still such an unreachable distance. There are still 4 days left, let's build another one, and prepare my own weapons and equipment. A few days passed in a flash during the focused forging process. It is worth mentioning that dagger number 4 was officially released, and the damaged water Kang staff was barely repaired. Finally, using the precious, or super rare black Goliath leather, Flan gave it a good treatment to make a handsome cardigan cape, a pair of gloves, a pair of leather boots, a pair of double-layer belt and bag, and 2 leg belts, a backpack for support. In other words, the entire set of equipment that was destroyed in the Goliath Crusade was completely upgraded by the obsessive Flan. Compared with the last time, his craftsmanship has been greatly improved this time, not only because of the promotion of forging from H to G, but also related to experience, skills and vision. On these brand new equipments, certain patterns were engraved with mithril powder. This is the power value added to equipment by using mystery. Added to the boots are agility, gloves, dexterity, belt, strength, cloak, magic defense, backpack and leg bags, durability. In this way, Flan's ability value has been more or less improved, and it also has a terrorist defense. Putting on new equipment, Flan returned to CGBB base camp. What? Update the ability value again. Loki sprayed Flan's face with a sip of wine, and then the young man calmly wiped his face, and said in a natural tone. Yeah, the expedition will be tomorrow, right? It's still early, and you shouldn't be too busy, so I came here early. Is this the point? Isn't the point that you just updated it a few days ago? Ah, this. I have learned a lot of knowledge in the past few days, and my forging skills have also been greatly improved. The most important thing is that I can already forge a magic sword. Nani? Demon. Magic sword. Are you already a magic sword blacksmith? Loki's eyes lit up, and he grabbed Flan's shoulders and shook him wildly. Ah, I know a thing or two, but it's just incomparable with Krozo's demon sword, so. That's good too. If you make your own materials and build them yourself, you can save a lot of money. Poor us, poor people can only drink northwest wind. The goddess hugged Flan. Guji, Bible. Hey, I got it. I'll prepare the magic sword later, nah. Don't cry. Really. Real. He. It's hard to change your nature, the drunkard. The blood of the gods dripped on the back, and opened the attribute map of Enwei. Coincidentally, Icy passed by Loki's shrine with her changed clothes in her arms, and the faint voice of dialogue from the room made the girl stop in place. Then, she elegantly raised the blonde hair around her ears, listening with the look of a curious baby. And then, what? It's only increased by more than 1,000 points, and it's only been 5 days. These irritating and shocking conversations directly made the girl expressionless. He has become stronger again, and I have to work hard. For outsiders, Sword Fairy has to work hard even after she's like this. I'm afraid outsiders will die of shame and indignation. This is the reason why the strong are always strong. The stronger you are, the stronger you will become. Those guys who only know how to make some money on the upper floor all day long, and then go to the tavern to get drunk, never know the color of the sky outside the well. The day before the expedition countdown. It was late at night, but the Twilight Pavilion was still brightly lit at this time. The magic stone lamp in the atrium was on, and the members in the courtyard were busy carrying goods. The most spectacular thing is the long queue in front of the gate of Loki's shrine. Everyone is queuing up for the last update of their abilities before the expedition, and they want to show off their skills. Seeing everyone getting excited, the corners of Flan's lips raised as he stood watching from the air corridor. Name: Flan Algon. Age: 23 years old. Title: Balrog. Race: Human. Occupation: Mage, Blacksmith, Magician. Affiliation: Loki Familia. Arrival floor, 17th floor. Money held, 200 to 240 million. Level, LV.3. Ability value, strength. 10 right pointing arrow G288 durability. 10 right pointing arrow G288 delicacy. 10 right pointing arrow G288 agility. 10 right pointing arrow G288 magic. EO right pointing arrow G288. Development ability Mysterious H, Forging G, Magic, Healing. Arms. Water Kang Scepter 2. The precious staff presented by Riveria Rios Alf in friendship was actually a friend of the same clan who forced her to accept it when she came to visit her. It is a very good staff and an expert weapon, it is more than enough for a novice magician to use. It was damaged during the battle against the floor master, Goliath. This is the second generation of work with improved craftsmanship after the craftsmanship has been improved. The production material is the precious ore hydrazite produced on the 25th-27th floor of the underground labyrinth, and the magic crystal of the battle head is made of the secret crystal of the gem beast. Special effects. Weekly increase magic power. Dagger 4 inches. The third generation short sword was broken under the double pressure of the side effects of combat and magic. This is a brand new work with improved craftsmanship. The fourth generation double-edged dagger made by Flan Algon is 40 centimeters long and is used as a spare weapon. The production materials are a mixture of Black Gloria's teeth, produced by the 17th floor mutant, Floor Master, Black Gloria of the underground labyrinth, and the ultra-hard refined metal, hard steel. Special effects. A very sharp dagger, worthy of the name of the second level of arming. Dark Knight FA2. Produced by Flan Algon, the second in the deodorant series. All previous armors were destroyed in the battle against Goliath. After the tempering and upgrading of skills, the new technology and materials have been improved. The set includes gloves, boots, belt, leg pockets, cloak, and backpack. The manufacturing materials are processed from the dropped props, Black Gloria's hard skin, of Floor Master, Black Gloria, and a small amount of refined metal, mithril. After being processed, although the weight has been greatly reduced, the effect has not been reduced. Special effects. It has a top-level defense that is comparable to or even surpasses the super hard metal, hard steel. Have some mysterious. Each suit is attached with attributes. Fire Lion 1. Flan Algon became the first magic sword created by the magic sword blacksmith, which has a certain commemorative significance. Special effects. The huge flame jaws of the Black Flame Thunder can instantly incinerate the enemies in a straight line in front of them. Has destructive power close to LV.4 magic. Magic. Searcher. Enchantment. Destruction property. Skill. Reader. Strengthen mental power. Doubles the effect in the dark. Immunity to mental pollution. Polymath. You can choose 2 development abilities each time. Learn magic without being restricted by the magic slot. When using magic swords and magic tools, the power is greatly increased. Double magic power. Range. Infinite super magic. Strengthen the spirit through the accumulation of knowledge. Strengthen magic power through knowledge accumulation. Magic synchronously increases all attributes. Current accumulation, 11.66%. Weapons, equipment, medicines, including level writing ability values are all up to date. Be the best for now. Flan keeps this wise saying of adventurers in mind all the time. In the courtyard of Twilight Pavilion, Loki was in the atrium, looking at the children of the Familia with his waist down. So, Loki. Off we go. Ah, we are waiting at home for your triumphant return. It is good. Finn turned to face everyone. The short stature of the little people exudes a cool aura at this time, and the same. As the leader, the individual named Finn Timna has already put on the mask of the leader. According to Flan's own evaluation, Finn Tim is a very qualified team leader, no matter how you look at it. Then, everyone is ready to set off to gather at the central square of the Tower of Babel. Yes, the team moved into action. Flan, also in brand new gear, moved slowly with the main force, carrying a backpack full of supplies and food. It is quite a blessing to have such a team leader as the soul of the team. Finn is great. The blonde swordsman walked side by side with Flan. Their blonde hair was blown by the gentle Nan Feng in the morning, and there was a long silence. Very reliable. Flan nodded thoughtfully. You can tell a thing or two from the expressions of your partners. The long line was walking on the North Avenue, attracting the eyes of countless people along the way. Those of the Familia faction, the Chamber of Commerce, the gods, the adventurers, and the common people. Hey, look quickly. It's the expedition team of the Loki family. Too powerful. Look, that's Wolf Bert Rocca. LV.5. It's really cool, especially the tattoo, such a man with a taste, I want it. Big Cut Diona Sillet and Angry Snake Dion Sillet, Amazon twins. Both are LV.5, so strong. Tilda my sister is a little better than my younger sister. I'm coming. The head of the Loki family, the hero of the little people, Hero Finn Timna, LV.6. Great Dwarf Warrior, Gia Grace Landrock, V6. The strongest magician in the city, the princess of the fairy royal family, the beauty even surpasses the gods. 9 Magic Girls Rivalia Rios Alf, LV.6. As well as. When the dazzling blonde hair flashed past, the surrounding crowd all boiled. The strongest female swordsman in the city, Sword Princess Icy Wallenstein. The darling who combines beauty and strength. Hey, who is that person next to Sword Fairy? What are you trying to do to our princess by being so close? Do you dare to take off the hat of the cloak and let me see your true face? Don't worry, I won't pay much on the black market reward list. Flan suddenly felt a strong malice. It was the eyes of envious and jealous male compatriots. It's a pity, why didn't I see the cute Thousand Fairy and the recent uproar Blaze Demon? Idiot. The Loki family's expedition is going to the deep layer. What can a rookie do? Is it a hindrance? I definitely won't bring them. So that's the case, then Balrog can defeat the floor master alone, why not go on an expedition with him? Quote. Cowards, I see, the previous rumors are also hype, such as the one-person massacre, monster banquet, and single-person crusade against the floor master, were all self-directed and self-acted dramas. Cut. After all, it's not just for the sake of fame, I really can do anything. Apologize. The tip of the rapier pointed at the nose of a nonsense adventurer on the side of the road, making the surroundings quiet for a moment. Even Finn, Riveria, Grace and others looked over. Then he held his forehead and shook his head. Sword Princess. Apologize. Just with fists. Tiona came over and shot the snarky guy with a cold stare Flan had never seen before. Yes, sorry. Icy and Tiona glanced at each other coldly, and then left. As for that little brother, he was almost scared to pee his pants. Do you think the murderous aura of LV.5 adventurers is so easy to bear? Stupid, I don't understand. Why are you such a brainless waste everywhere? I don't even think about it. The Loki family still uses these fancy means to promote themselves. Stupid. Okay, that's amazing, that's the Loki familia. GNG is so handsome, it's unbelievable that she is a young girl. Tisk tisk, shouldn't the point be that idiot? On a cloudless day, the sun shone warmly on my body. As usual, adventurers and supporters, either alone or in teams, wore armor, robes, and carried weapons and gathered towards the giant chalk tower in the center. For fame, for wealth, for glory. These can all be obtained in the dungeon, and adventurers only need to bet their lives on adventures. On the avenue in the northern part of the city, the situation today is a bit abnormal. Not only the general public, but even the adventurers, they called, even took the initiative to give way to the high-spirited team to pass first. They stood on the side of the road, whispering, fanatical, and jealous. All kinds of emotions were mixed in the noisy sky, dyed golden with the sun. Among the ranks, the battle flags belonging to the family members fluttered in the wind. The playful clown icon has a strange sense of glory. Loki Familia. 930, does not need to be stated, this emblem represents fame, wealth, and glory. One of the city's strongest twin kings, the presence of the apex of all the families in the city. Tower of Babel. On the huge central square, the team that arrived first has already pulled a large number of material trailers here. This is one of the 2 troops, led by Finn and Riveria, which is the first echelon. Everyone should be here, right? Standing on a box containing supplies, Finn glanced below. Ah, everyone has already. Well, I didn't see Miss Ace and Mr. Flan. Angie interrupted Raoul's report. Riveria rested her forehead and sighed. I won't say anything about Flan. I guess he was kidnapped by Ace to buy potato balls. The screen changed. Plenty mistress, tavern. For me. Flan opened his eyes wide, looking at the girl holding the bento in front of him with an unbelievable look. A belated gift meow, congratulations on upgrading to LV.3 meow. Liu, Anaya, Kaloy, Lenova, and Hill stood opposite him. Among them, Liu was holding a lunch box, but Anaya helped explain. Hurry up and accept meow, I don't know how good you are, meow, to be able to eat the bento made by Liu himself, meow, angry meow. Flan scratched his head, slightly lowered his head to look at the elf girl who was shaking her head, her eyes kept wandering from her body, he was a little confused. Is this still the gale wind, in his impression? Hey, Liu. Then, please accept it. Congratulations on your upgrade. Hey, you don't mean it, Miss Goblin. Still, Flan accepted the bento box tied with a cute fairy handkerchief. Flan, you'll be late. You'll be scolded by Finn. Icy stood beside her blankly, without any fluctuations in her heart. Well, I'll take my leave then. When I get back from expedition, I'll be here to eat. Come on, Blaze Demon meow. Hey, you nasty stinky cat, don't use that shame-exploding nickname. Flan, who was walking away, turned around and yelled viciously. A few girls waved to him, and Anaya smiled. A man who recognizes Ryu-chan's past is also very charming. Lu Nova curled her lips, making a noise with her companions. No, don't talk nonsense. I just help him celebrate wearing it. The goblin really has a powerful mouth, meow. Liu is no exception. Before the last supplies were delivered to the central square, Flan and Ace finally rushed back to the team. If the two of you hadn't seized the time to come back, you would definitely be pulled out as a typical example. Sorry. Okay, Ace, you're on the first team, Flan, you're on the second team. The two teams advance separately and meet on the 18th floor. Do you understand? Yes. As for the reason for the team, Flan also added a lot of knowledge recently to understand the reason. This also starts with the terrain of the dungeon. The basic feature of this underground labyrinth is that the further you go down, the larger the scale and area of the floor. According to the comparison of the 5th floor, its size can already compare with the area of this central square. And according to the information he checked from the library, when he reached the 40th floor, the area there was already comparable to the city. It is really hard to imagine the scenery below the 40th floor, because the area of each floor below Alari. From this we can see the difficulty of the expedition. Of course, it does not mean that all floors conform to the law that the lower floors must be larger than the upper floors, but in principle, the dungeon does have a conical structure, and the width of the passage is also proportional to the floor-to-floor. Wide and open. In view of this, when carrying out an expedition, especially when a large team of dozens of people like the Loki family is attacking a dungeon, it is definitely no problem to use the deep floor space, even if it is the lower or middle floors. The trouble is the upper layer. If dozens of people start from the first floor together, the narrow area may make it difficult for the team to move forward. Don't forget, in addition to the number of people, they also carry a lot of supplies. Think about that kind of scene. Dozens of people move collectively in the narrow passages on the upper floor in small caves, let alone fighting. Normal movement is an extravagant hope. After all, it seems that only one person can pass through the narrow passage, and there are quite a lot of upper floors. In addition, in the unspoken rules of the dungeon, adventurers also try to avoid situations such as long queues, because it will easily cause unnecessary disputes. Therefore, when the major families are conducting expeditions, they will basically divide the teams according to the usual practice, such as dividing into 2 groups or 3 groups, and then meet on a specific floor as Finn instructed. The 18th floor is a very good meeting place. For a powerful faction like the Loki Familia, all members of which are high-level adventurers, the 18th floor and above are all casually stepped on, which is not much different from the general rush on the ground. More than a dozen LV.2 adventurers formed a team to pass through the 18th floor, and I believe that no one will find faults indiscriminately. Hey, Flan was assigned to the second team, so we can't act together, so happy. It's only up to the 18th floor, Tiona. At the speed of the team, it's only a matter of a few hours. Okay, I still want to see how Flan is doing well. Ephesians 3.5 Luo N's face turned black, is that your purpose? But I'm a LV.3 and I still fight with the chicken mobs before the 18th floor, what's so interesting about this? As for himself, he also feels a little boring. Since he was promoted to LV.3, Flan also sneaked into the dungeon once, originally wanting to see if he could improve his ability value, acquire knowledge, during the battle, but obviously he thought too much. Unless there is a qualitative breakthrough in a certain skill or combat experience, otherwise, it might as well be honestly reading in the library. Everyone, our goal this time is still the floor that we failed to reach last time. And as long as this goal is accomplished, we can look into uncharted territory. I hope everyone can show their best side to deal with this expedition. The distribution of the teams is still the same. The first team is led by me and Riveria, and they set off to the 18th floor first to attack the floor master. The second team is led by Grace. The task is to protect supplies, supporters, and move forward. Set off. Do you understand everything? Ooh. Very good, let's go then. Grace, I'm counting on you over there. Leave it to the old man. The bustling team finally started the expedition. The first team is basically the main team. Perhaps Finn wants their advanced combat power to reach the 18th floor early to recover and ensure their endurance. Compared with the cadres of the first team, the second team is all second-level adventurers except Grace, who is LV.6. 26 team members including Raul, Angie, Cruz, Alvi, Alicia at LV.4 and Rafia and Flan at the captain level at LV.3. They set off later, responsible for protecting the supplies and logistics on the trailer. As for why Flan is placed in the second echelon. Li Ni, please give me your advice. This time I will be in charge of the guard, the mage for fire support and bombardment, and the healer for team healing. Mr. Flan, please advise me. Li Ni Yalagju is a cute human girl who wears big glasses, a white hairpin, and a braid that reaches to her waist. Compared to Flan, who has just gained a year in the new year, is already 23 years old and has a height of 185 centimeters. Li, who is 16 years old and only 155 centimeters tall, is a little sister who needs to be protected. In fact, this is also the case. Li Ni's level is only LV.2, but the only magic she can use is healing magic. This also makes her even more important than the vanguards of LV.4. You must know that during the dungeon exploration process, there is an essential gap in the quality of the entire team whether or not there are healers in the team. This conclusion is not only not reduced in the expedition, but will be infinitely magnified. The number of medicines is limited, and the healer just needs to restore the mental power. Which is better and which is worse, you can tell at a glance. So is the most optimal choice. The leader of the small human race will naturally maximize the role of Flan. That is, he exists as a healer and defender to protect the team, and he will never be allowed to step on the front line. You kid, don't make trouble for me, Flan. Stay in the back position to protect Lee, Alicia, Rafia and other weak girls. Don't rush to the front. A single hand on his shoulder was impenetrable, and Flan's brow was beading with sweat. Ahem, old man, I am very obedient, and I am very afraid of death. Just rest assured. Nice. Afraid of death. Just you. Thinking of the young man in front of him fighting on the 17th floor, the dwarf warrior sneered and let out a hee-hee. Okay, little ones. Pull up your spirits and let's go. Yes. With a big wave of Mr. Grace's hand, the second team also advanced into the Tower of Babel and started their journey along the spiral staircase surrounding the big hole. Guild headquarters, the deepest prayer room in the underground. The Loki Familia team has set off, Uranus. A certain sage looked away from the crystal ball, turned around and looked at the old god sitting on the stone chair. I saw the old god's blue eyes looking at his feet, and his divine intention was unknown. What changes are happening in the dungeon, and soon, there will be results. Is this an oracle? No, it's God's intuition. This kind of thing seems very unreliable. This time, definitely. In the Northeast District, there is a forging workshop somewhere. Yo, surround. The Loki family set off. What? That teammate of yours is here too. What? Give me a reaction, okay. What? Boring. One kept teasing, the other was too lazy to answer. And then, in the base camp of the Faith family, one goddess is preaching to another goddess. I said, Hestia, even if we have a bad relationship in the heaven, you are too outrageous now. Since the lower realm, you have been in my family, eating my living, my flowers, and my own. I don't know how to be more diligent, so I have an idea. Right now, immediately, you go out to live with me, and then, build your own family. Don't wow. I can't live with this if I leave here, and, houses, gold coins, etc., and where can I recruit family members? Feifei, please you, Feifei, don't drive me away. Death House God, work hard for me. No. I don't want to go. I heard that Loki's family has started an expedition again. You and her are deadly enemies, aren't you? Aren't you afraid to run into her at the dance next time? A certain goddess' face darkened. Doesn't that taste good? Stop talking. I've found you a temporary place to stay, and a job that even a good-for-nothing like you can barely make ends meet. Dungeon, 13th floor. For the first time, Flan had an illusion that 050 was this veritable magic cave, not scary. Starting from the first floor, you can relax and enjoy the dreamy scenery just like going out with your family. An unprecedented relaxed feeling filled the body and mind, except for the warm sunshine that did not shine on the skin. It was really no different from shopping. A team with all members above LV.2 is really pushing and crushing all the way, which doesn't make sense at all. As soon as the monsters bred from the dungeon landed, they were killed by the guards on guard outside the team. That smooth, silky feeling brings a whole new experience to Flan. It's completely different from a small team composed of several people. Because it is a team, each person is responsible for one or several tasks, which makes it easier to deal with it. In addition, everyone is a partner who has been working together for many years, and this is the result. Flan has a new understanding of the joint combat system. It's so easy, it doesn't take much energy to get to the 18th floor. Lefia held the staff in both hands and walked side by side with Li Ning beside Flan. The girl nodded and told Flan what she had seen and heard in the expedition. According to the previous schedule, we met on the 18th floor, and then went straight to the last floor of the middle floor, in one breath, and spent the night at the passage on the 24th floor. Then attack 5 to 6 floors every day, and reach the deep, safe floor, the 50th floor, within a week. After listening to Rafia's words, Flan began to calculate secretly. Counting from the 18th floor, it is necessary to reach 50 floors, with a total of 32 floors across the middle, lower, and deep layers in the middle. At the speed she said, it will take about 6 days to reach the target floor, and then it will be the matter of the cadres and the big three. In other words, the complete time of an expedition is about 15 to 20 days. It's amazing. Several people were chatting, while the team advanced in an orderly manner under the command of each captain. After passing through the huge cave hall of Gloria, the worst floor, which is where the wall of size is located, we finally arrived at the 18th floor. Floor 18, the first safe floor of the dungeon. This is. Rifia, the goblin girl, put her hands behind her back and said with a smile. Speaking of which, this is the first time for Flan to come to the 18th floor. How about it? Is the scene here a little different from what you imagined? Standing under the slope of the passage, stepping on the soft lawn, looking at the shining dome, even with deep memories, he couldn't help being stunned. This light. Ha 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 ha, kid. Are you very sharp? You've already discovered it. The dwarf warrior finished the task of leading the team, and when he saw someone in a daze, he came over and joked. Those are all crystals. This thing is very popular among the nobles on the ground, especially in countries outside the city. It seems to be quite expensive. How did it get here? It became like a stone, everywhere. Rare is the most valuable thing. It's not a rare thing in Orario. Well, that's true. Touching his nose in embarrassment, he knew that he had used the 3 views and values of his previous life to think again, and had stepped into a fatal misunderstanding. Only then did he realize that he was really stupid. Let's go. You guys, don't be in a daze here. Finn and the others are still with us. Yes. The passage to the 18th floor is on the southernmost plane, and the corresponding passage to the 19th floor is in the north direction. On the highlands to the west, you can vaguely see a dilapidated town made entirely of wood. It must be the famous adventurer town Riviera. As he walked, he looked around. On both sides of the traveling route, all the beautiful crystals with transparent blue brilliance greeted the eyes. They have different shapes, including small plants that grow at the feet, long swords like titans, and large crystals that can engulf the entire body. Rich and varied blue crystals are scattered in every corner of the forest. In this collection of countless crystals, they irregularly reflect the fine dome light, turning the entire forest into a fantasy light blue, reflecting on everyone, as if pouring a layer of dreamy tulle. Not only that, but on the roots of the huge and ferocious tree, there are also beautiful moss and blue crystal fragments stuck to it. The entire field of vision is full of mysterious and fantasy scenery, which breaks through Flan's imagination, perfectly fits all fantasies about other worlds, and hits the heart directly. Although the 18th floor is not small, it didn't take long for the senior adventurers to cross the entire floor and reach the passage on the 19th floor. At this time, the partners of the first team were waiting here early. A certain werewolf leaning on the tree trunk was wagging his tail impatiently, his face full of anxiety. Also too slow. Grandpa. Can't you hurry up? Backquote. It won't hurt your back when you stand and talk. Cut. Grace, is everything going well? Of course, there is nothing wrong with me. Very good, then everyone, we are going to start the raid on the next floor. Raoul, hand out the prepared, fire elf cloth, the firebird in the big tree labyrinth, even we should not underestimate it. Be fully prepared. Little one knows. According to the instructions, Raoul and others took a large number of pre-purchased elf armor from the trailer and distributed them to the members one by one. Tion, Mademoiselle Tiona. We don't need it anymore. It's useless because it's in the way during the battle. Head. Theon and the others are fine, but members below LV.5 must equip it. Okay. Including Flan and Rafia, they all put on the red, fire elf cloth, cloak soon. Originally he was wearing a night-haired cloak, but now he was covered with a red one. His outfit looked quite fashionable. 2 layers of protection, this kind of max-level sense of security is the first time in a dungeon. Huh. Is Mr. Flan's cloak some sort of equipment? My cloak, this is my secret weapon. Always feel suspicious. Quote. The fairy girl had a timid expression and questioning eyes. He smiled and said nothing. This is a cloak sewn from Black Goliath's hard leather, a good thing whose defense power can break through the limit of your imagination. Flan, be careful. The blonde female swordsman came over and spoke softly. Don't worry, I'm also LV.3. Okay. Then everyone, let's go. Everyone got ready, and under the command of Finn, all the people entered the Channel King. The entire formation is completely changed. Bert, Tiona, and the 2 acted as forwards to open the way. Tion, Ice, Raoul, Angie and others sit in the central defenders to protect the defenders and supporters. In the end, after the big 3 came to the fore, the entire team was united as one, impenetrable. Loki Familia showed a strong execution ability. The 19th floor, the 24th floor, also known as the Big Tree Maze. Stepping into the 19th floor, the environment of the entire floor has changed again. Whether it is the ceiling of the floor area, or the wall, or the ground, everything is formed by bark. On the formal passage leading to the depths, the luxuriant moss growing everywhere emits a faint blue or green light. This is a landscape like a legendary secret place. Leaves of various shapes, mysterious flowers dripping with nectar, and strange plants that have never been heard or seen are everywhere. This place is like a natural treasure house, which makes people Ma Wanghao swayed. Presumably those pharmacists will become crazy here. This is the 19th to 24th floors, Big Tree Labyrinth. In the Big Tree Labyrinth, monsters generally have some peculiar attack modes or methods. The most troublesome and difficult, abnormal attacks, to deal with, such as firebirds that spew flames, trap-type monsters with mimicry abilities, bloody beehives and deadly hornets, dark poisonous mushrooms, green tree dragons, etc. Then pay special attention to the poisonous demon maggots. This kind of monster has no direct combat capability, but once they form a large scale, they will be troublesome. Flan has checked all this knowledge in the expedition records in the library. But even if I watched it again, I didn't experience it for myself. Let's take the regular passage and quickly pass through the current floor. Bert, Tiona. It's up to you. HMPH, just wait. Then, the two launched a charge against the monsters blocking in front of the team. One by one monsters were easily and quickly defeated, and then the supporters removed the corpses to avoid affecting the battle. The speed at which monsters were eliminated made someone dumbfounded. Not counting the usual sparring, it was the first time he saw IC and others show their strength. With that capable figure, amazing skills and rich combat experience, the whole fight is extremely smooth, and it seems to be a kind of enjoyment. The opportunity to go whoring for nothing has come again. Flan put on the hood and lowered his head, then stared at Bert, Diona, Icy and others with golden pupils shining with azure halos, eagerly absorbing and digesting their skills and combat experience. What is yours is mine, what is mine is still mine. This sentence is really suitable for Flan. Relying on the ability to almost never forget, gather powerful computing power, constantly analyze and optimize its own combat mode, and then settle down, waiting for fermentation. Finn was busy commanding the team, and Grace was on alert for the battle situation in the rear. Only Riveria, who hadn't made a move for the time being, noticed Flan's abnormality. That child, is he learning from Icy and the others' combat experience? He has a terrifying ability to grow. Presumably after this expedition, he will have another terrifying evolution. Riveria didn't use the word growth to describe Flan, but evolution. Yes, in her opinion, this human youth is 100% a monster, and he has almost brought out the human talent, learning, to the extreme. Even the elf royal family with broad vision can't see the depth of him in the future. I always feel that Mr. Bert, Miss Tiona and the others are messier than they were in the last expedition. What's the matter? Huh? Aren't they usually like this? Flan turned his head to look at the puzzled fairy girl, and asked curiously. Compared to the goblin wizard who is confused, Alvi is much more sensitive. The strength of the cadres seems to have improved a lot, and they are tempering their bodies and minds. Flan suddenly realized that it was so. Suppression bracers. Alvi nodded, confirming. It looks like this expedition should be a hit and not lose money. With cadres who have taken a big step forward in strength, they will be the forwards, and the speed of the entire team will be further accelerated. Compared with Bert, Icy and others who are also top-level fighters in LV.5, the monsters with only LV.1 and LV.2 potential abilities in Big Tree Maze are basically delivering food, and they can't even stop the opponent even step. Also, in the eyes of LV.5, there is probably no difference between LV.1 and LV.2 or even LV.3. Anyway, CGBC is just a thing that can kill a group of people with one knife. Diona, the female Amazonian warrior, is the most craziest, wielding a large custom-made armed double-blade Olga with a frightening weight in her hands, driving a windmill blade storm crazily, slaughtering all the monsters along the way. It's over, let's carry that big killer on our shoulders, Clover. Ah, it's really boring. It's so light to cut, it's so boring. I want to cut the hard one. Everyone. Flan was drinking from a water bottle when he heard Tiona complaining and spewed it out. Raul wiped his face resentfully, with sad eyes. Hold. I'm sorry Raul, Diona is really ridiculous. Hey, just get used to it. According to my gossip, I heard that the first time Miss Tiona asked the senior blacksmith of Gubanao to build her own Olga, as required, some people even vomited blood. Ah, it is said that a dozen or so senior blacksmiths worked non-stop for a week to complete it. How pitiful it is. Not counting the processing costs and raw materials of the super hard metal, hard steel, just the forging costs cost 120 million fares. 100 million, 20 million. Farley. Flan felt a buzzing sound in his head, and his whole body was dizzy. Regardless of the fact that he still has some money in his hand, he had spent 50 million fares on entrusting the Gubenius family to help him build a magic workshop, plus the purchase of materials to make weapons and equipment and medicines. Finally, there are only two in the early 100 million. This money is not spent. You do not say. Teams and monsters are fighting, rolling, slashing with a long sword, defending with a huge shield, flashing a rapier, and flying a long spear. Adventurers and monsters staged a melody called Battle, which is sweet and beautiful. Push, push, push again, big tree labyrinth, can't stop everyone's footsteps at all. Before the sun set on the ground, they arrived on time as planned, the entrance to the passageway on the 25th floor. Everyone, set up camp on the spot, set up the tents, and then light a fire to prepare dinner. For food, try to use local materials as much as possible. The food we carry needs to be kept for deep use. Yes. Finn gave precise orders one by one, making the whole team move quickly. Including Flan. Is Flan in charge of dinner today? This is the first time. As expected of Finn. Use everything you can. Flan was forced to show off his culinary skills in the dungeon. Set up a bonfire with wood, hang a large iron pot on it, and wait for the water to boil. It didn't take long for the girls like Sv to come back from the woods. They hold various fruits in their hands. Such as yun fruit, red berry. They are one of the few ingredients that can be used in dungeons. Not only monsters, but also adventurers often use them to satisfy their hunger. Although it is very fragrant and can fill the stomach, it is just too sweet. Take out the dagger, cut them into several pieces, sprinkle them into the pot, and then boil them into a soup. There is no need for any extra spices, and there is a strong fragrance. Then add some green sour fruits and dried meat to make a soup. The delicious and nutritious dungeon food is ready. The soup made from yun fruit and red berry. It's a bit too sweet for me, let's add a little meat to mention it. When the soup was about the same color, Flan picked up a wooden spoon and tasted it. About there. Everyone, dinner is ready. Wow, it's the soup made by Flan himself. I want to eat it, I want to eat it. Tiona and the others who had tasted his craft for a long time rushed over quickly. Don't worry, there's a whole big pot. It's enough for everyone to drink until they're full. When it's time for dinner, with a large spoon in hand, Flan fills up the wooden bowls for everyone in line, and then sits around the campfire. Okay everyone, we have successfully completed the goal of the first day, so let's eat and drink. Then take a good rest and recharge your batteries. As a qualified team leader, morale should be improved at this time, and Finn has indeed done it. Take a bite of the jerky, take a bite of fried potato balls with mustard and honey flavor, and drink the soup. Tisk, don't have a flavor. Mr. Potato Balls. The blonde girl who was naturally dumbfounded sat on the left side of Flan, accidentally occupying this position. She tilted her head and saw the food in Flan's hand. Well, mustard honey flavor, want to try it? Well, I like red bean cream. That taste is also delicious, but I always change it. The blonde-haired young man and the girl behaved like no one else, and the companions sitting around the campfire eating suddenly felt that the food in their hands was not delicious. Bah, it's true. Woo, Miss I'm full. Rafia. Where are you going? Kill the dog. Thanks for watching.